it's likely. Anything is possible. That's how it is. But I don't think it's likely that we're going to see Israel use a nuke, unless if Iran, struck a ton of nuclear facilities, was able to operationally cripple Israel in such a way that they resort to that type of attack on Iran. But I don't think it's likely that they'll go that far. I do
Well, can I
think
respond
that
to that real quick?
yeah, you can go ahead.
I just feel like if they were able to get away with not too much blowback from Western politicians, Western media, with an unprovoked attack, and then go around being like, "Oh, why are they escalating?" and people actually buying into that. If they can sit back and actually take some hits, and who knows, maybe even blow up a school or something that like that, that's not beyond what they would, be capable of, and just bring out the bodies in the streets and be like, we have no more capabilities. We're in an existential threat right now, and that's it. And they don't ask for permission. Next thing you'll know, there'll just be a freaking nuke will pop off, and they'll just come out and say, "We have to do it. We have to do it. A World War II. We never again. We cannot be." The same old bullshit that they constantly do, man. It's like, it's nice
Yeah, I
watching.
mean,
No offense, watching Israel get some Israel could. So I'm just wondering where it's all going to end up here when we finally see how the cards cash out
But
here.
the
I
problem
mean,
though is they use a nuke. They like Dubai's done for, Qatar's done for. They just became America's biggest investors. Like they all use desalination plants. All that water would be completely radioactive, and those countries would be done for. So I don't see how they could use it. If they do, America can no longer be an ally. And then what? That's why I don't
I
think
Do you
they
mean,
think
can.
they have a neutron bomb that would not put the isotopes out, or some other variety of bomb that we might not know, seeing as they technically don't have nukes either?
Yeah, I don't.
I
I
just think
don't.
in
There's no
terms of
evidence
like,
of that.
if you're to gauge whether it's more likely than not that Israel uses a nuke, I just don't think it's likely. I really don't. I mean, do you really think that it's more probable that they are going to use a nuke? At least as of right now, like in terms of where the scene is, or I guess this conflict is right now, do you think it's more likely that they're actually resort to that? And if they went
I
to
mean,
Canada,
I
because
would I
I
would
don't
just
think
think
it
that
as of right now.
they would
No.
need to take on enough losses to have that. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying if they can get away with an unprovoked attack, which they did pretty much, and everyone kind of was like, "Oh well, they had to do what they had to do," Iran was going to get a nuke, and a lot of people have bought into that. Trust me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not doubting that Israel isn't a lie and do a bunch of disinformation campaigns, but I think that if they were going to do that type of attack, Iran would need to go in and first cripple operational capacity of Israel, bomb a bunch of their own nuclear facilities, and really do, like, not just like hit it, but like destroy it entirely, and do some other type of hitting of the airfields, or crippling their cyber capabilities, and then that's conversation. But like right now, I just don't see. Again, maybe it happens in the future, but like right now, I just don't think it's gonna get that far. But hey, they are crazy though. So I mean, it's like anything can happen with that. With it, because they're antagonizing, they're poking the bear. This is their war. Like Iran, I mean, Israel is starting this entire thing. Iran has been attacked first by Israel with the facility strike. So I mean, they are trying to escalate this and get it as much as they possibly can, as of right now. So I mean, I wouldn't put it past them, but I don't think it's that likely as of right now, at least.
Sully, check your messages. Okay, actually, never mind. I saw your response. Um, all right. Where did Matt go? Did Matt go down? I guess so. All right, guys, repost the space. I see that Jake is here. I wanted to welcome Jake Langdon to the stage.
Do you mind if I give a quick update before
No,
you?
of course. Go ahead, please.
So we have a report.
Hey guys, how we doing?
Just real
Hi,
quickly,
Jake. 1 second. We're going to get it live. So once in a while, people are going to just be jumping in with updates. So please don't mind us. Go ahead, Nathan, and then I'll come to you, Jake, right after.
So we have Hebrew. I don't know what. Sorry, guys. Israeli Channel 12. Iranian sources tell the New York Times Israel attacked at least 12 missile warehouses, military bases, and nuclear facilities in Iran.
All right. Thank you for that update, Nathan. All right. So Jake, welcome to the stage. We're talking about what happened since yesterday. Obviously, the quote preemptive attack that Israel did on Iran, and also now obviously covering what's been going on ever since then. What's your take on all of this? I saw that you were waving and eager to chime in. Go ahead.
Thank you, Maze, and thank you so much for all your support. While I was a political prisoner for 4 years, you helped orchestrate many spaces and push out our messages from the basement of the DC jail gulag where the Biden regime held me. One of the first things I want to address with everybody here, and God bless everybody and God bless Israel, is when did this sudden change? I was talking with an older couple today at the Capitol Grill, like your older typical like boomer Republicans, and it just seems, and they were also baffled like I was. When did this shift of this like just absolute hatred towards Israel and Jewish people happen? I know that on X we've seen this large growth of like truther 9/11
Israel started
stuff.
killing kids.
Israel has been vying for its sovereignty and its freedom and its safety with a pack of ravenous wolves around it since its inception.
Israel's what put you in prison on January 6th.
Has nothing to do with that. That was the Biden regime.
Come on, you can't be that stupid at this point, can you? Really? I mean, have you not been watching?
I didn't
the same
see any Israelis on
Why
the
can't he
ground.
be this stupid? Well, why can't he be
Hold
this
on.
stupid?
Okay.
Why are you challenging?
So I wanted to ask that question. It's kind of, it's a.
Why have you actually ever studied the real history? I'm not talking about the American bullshit history that they make you read, and it as part of it. Have you actually
Okay,
studied
guys,
the
I
real
don't
history?
think. Listen, okay, guys, chill. I think this is not the best way to go about this. So, look, Jake, I think what you're asking, I think it's a fair question if you're asking it generally. So let's just assume you are. Um, it's not a hatred for Jewish people, but the hatred for Israel for sure, or the dislike for Israel, came about from their actions. So, generally speaking, obviously, there are people who've always historically disagreed with Israel and are aware of their actions, but it culminated in a 19-month genocide that we've seen where they've unilaterally, without any form without any form of control, attacking, killing, and murdering civilians on a mass scale. When human beings, normal, moralistic human beings, and this is what the vast majority of the world is, because I do believe that God created man to be morally good. So, irrespective of their political ideology or maybe even religious ideology or control or payments they're receiving, or some kind of blackmail operation that's happening to them from people like Israel. People just seeing humans getting murdered affects their heart, and that's why the whole world is against Israel. So the UK, which is
Well,
an ally of,
let me speak to that. So
let
let's
me just finish
go.
this point. Let me just finish this point. So, like the UK, as an example, who is an ally of Israel, the vast majority of people within the United Kingdom are against Israel. Obviously, they control our government. Or in the US, even though US is considered Israel's #1 ally in the world, polls actually show that the vast majority of Americans now are against Israel, and for under 15s, it's an overwhelming majority. And the reason is because people are humans. People see the murder, see the evil nature of Israel, see the dehumanization of the other, and so they just don't like it. Go ahead, Jake.
So I think it plays into a larger, and I'm going to use kind of a crude word, but the pussification of man and of our society. Empires used to rise and fall. The way that the American Empire was founded, and the British Empire, and all of the freedoms and the amazing societal benefits that we have is through military conquest, through the strong man, the willingness to fight and push for supremacy of your race, of your people, of your culture, of your religion. And we have,
like what happened
no,
to you
let me
on
finish. Let
January
me
6th?
finish. I'm
You're
just
both
warming
finished.
up. Let me cook. Let me cook. Let me cook. And so I believe that this, of course, a human being with empathy does not want to see others die. But you cannot take that obviously moral boundary, right, and put that up on a pedestal to the point of, it's also like saying this: a robber comes into your house, and because you don't
Like
want
an
to
Israeli
see a
settler, you
human
mean?
being die, you let them let me finish. You let them rob and steal and even rape your
Like
wife
an
and
Israeli
children
settler.
because you don't want to see them robbed. Sometimes it's necessary, right, to do what would be considered temporarily, the evil thing in order to reach the greater good. And that's what men used to do. They used
You
to
mean
be
like Hamas?
willing
What
to
they do?
fight and strive for resources, for their heritage, for their country. And I think that war is natural. And to go and to say, oh, war is so evil and dirty and stuff like that. This is what the foundation of human beings have been built on. And that is the human race. This is what civilization has been built on. And to take that away from men, to take the warfare out of men's heart, is to literally emasculate them.
Yeah.
And on top of that, if you allow the Muslims to outbreed the whites and the
It
Jews in
was
this world,
Zionist
they
to
will
put you
rape
in a jail
and
Muslims
cell
are
like the
pillage.
religion, you
Muslims have been
idiot.
They
You
doing
will
don't have
up
to
rape.
to
be.
on
They
January 6th,
will
Manny.
rape and pillage and
So
take over our
Muslims are
culture, and
religion.
that is a
okay,
fact. They will not stop.
guys, can you stop interrupting? Like you just
They will not
Okay, let me
stop at
respond to you.
Israel.
Let me respond to you, Jack. Let me respond to you. So the problem with what you say, it's an extreme fallacy because when you talk about strength or being a person, then that nothing is more a bigger example of that than Israel. Because in reality, when you look at Israel as an example that you're seeing live right now, what we're reporting, Israel bombs Iran. Goes, let's go one on one, mano a mano. We will absolutely destroy you. And what happens? They can't do it on their own. But because they've blackmailed politicians, because they've got people like Jeffrey Epstein, because they financially control the United States and various other countries, they had all of those other countries defend them because they're the pussies who require others to help.
That's the Sun Tzu art of
That
war. Part of the
the
warfare
second thing is,
strategy
let me
of,
finish.
listen, even George Washington did this. Are you
Let me
gonna?
finish my point. You need to control yourself. I know you're getting extremely emotional. Maybe your emotions took the better of you, and hence why you end up in jail. So just control yourself. So coming back to the point, that's the first thing. The second thing about it is when you talk about Israel, again, the biggest form of pussies is Israel, and hence why they are doing a direct attack on free speech in the United States of America, where if anybody criticizes Israel, they want to deport them. They want to implant the IHRA definition into universities in the United States of America, where they have the First Amendment because they don't believe in free speech, they don't believe in Western civilization. Just because a Christian believes that the Jews killed Jesus, if someone believes that, they will have them kicked out of university. If someone believes that a Jewish person or an Israeli has more loyalty to Israel than the United States, they'll be kicked out of university. So they're an antithesis of Western civilization. The third thing is when you talk about um in terms of raping, well, Israel is the rape capital of the world. If you look at their behaviors and the fact that they rape their prisoners, again, all of that goes against what you say. It's a lack of understanding of what you're talking about. If the world is built on warfare, then let warfare be welfare. If you're basing it on alliances and you're
Part of warfare. Let me before we
What
go
part
to,
of
so
warfare is
to address
raping
the
your
first one.
enemies?
So no, that's, come on, listen
Is
to
that
me.
what you're about to say
So
next?
you're going to criticize? Are you going to criticize? Listen, part of warfare. Perfect example. George Washington ran from the British for years and dodged and moved and then created strategic alliances with the French in order to win the war. Part of warfare is alliances, and the Israelis are creating alliances, which they're doing great using their tech
No, they're ruining
capabilities, using
alliances.
their
Nah,
They're
nah.
brains
making
So
and
the
stuff.
enemies.
alliance isn't
No,
based on
they
that.
are
The alliance
leveraging
is it's not an
alliances. Let me
alliance.
finish. Let me
Jake, it's
address
not an
all 3
alliance. It's a
points.
blackmail operation. So they probably got people like you partaking in
You're
accurate.
not propping me up. I just got out of prison,
Now I'm
man.
not
I'm
saying
struggling to
you.
keep
You
my
need to
food on my
listen. I said
table.
Exactly. You're a
people. I
perfect
said
target.
people like you. You're a perfect. Exactly. You're a perfect target. So the Epstein ring, blackmail, a multinational ring,
That's
is
so.
for that
It's
reason. It's for the statement. So
listen.
when you say alliance, it's not alliance. It's blackmail because the United States of America receives zero benefit by supporting Israel, other than becoming a
That's
target.
not true. You have 300,000 Americans that live in
How much
Israel, and
did
let me
Israel
They're not
address the
pay
other
these
Americans.
guys
They're
points
in
that you made.
Israelis.
jail?
They're not Americans. They're Israelis.
It's so. No, they are
No, they're
Americans.
not.
I
The
I had my own
Israelis.
family live.
They've used the
I had
right.
my own family
They've
live in
used.
Israel
Ah, so you're a Jewish
before.
Zionist. Okay. So
Of course, I'm a Jewish man,
so
and
it's
I
your.
believe in
So
God's promises.
so now when you say about Jews, okay. So now we're having a different conversation.
What
Now it
being
makes sense. So,
you're having a conversation with a born again Christian who
well, you're
has
not.
Jewish
You're a
bloodline
Jewish
on his
guy.
mother's
You're a
side,
Jewish.
who is an
Well,
American
you're a Jewish
patriot,
guy. Let's be
Where
clear
does
on
who
where
that.
stood
does
up at the
wait
United
You don't
wait
States
even know what
where
the
Capitol.
does
fuck
the
you are.
Talmud say? What does the Talmud say that
I'm a
Jesus
believer in Jesus
is?
Christ
Jake,
who has
Jake,
a Jewish
Jake.
mother.
According
Israel
to Jewish
believes Jesus
religion,
Christ
where
is
is
burning.
Jesus Christ right now?
Jake,
According to Jewish
Jake,
Listen, the
religion, where is
Romans.
Jesus now?
Jake, your
Because
sister
according
is
to the
in the
Talmud,
Israeli Air Force.
he's in a
You
vat
drove a
of
fucking
human
bus of
feces.
Chabad down to J6 from New York. You drove a fucking bus of halal operatives down from New York to
Guys, give me. I
help
got a phone
entrap
call, but
people
you muted me.
on J6. Your sister is in the fucking Israeli Air
Ah,
Force,
no
and
wonder why they let him out.
she bought a
Is that
house
why they let the
with the
rat out?
fucking money that you raised from your
No,
fucking five
my
NGO fucking give send go bullshit. $1.2 million, Jake. Let's talk about that
every
shit.
single
Let's talk about how
every
much
single.
time you spent in a fucking gulag, you fucking traitor.
I
All
spent
right, guys.
That's
Let's
900
not.
why
days in
they.
Let's
That's
not.
why they
solitary
Yeah.
let
Let's
Josh
not.
confinement
sell.
for
That's
standing
why they
up
let
for this
Josh
I got a
sell.
bit
country,
of breaking news, just
Yeah,
to bring
okay.
and
up
I
Let's
did
get
a
back to the
everyone.
topic,
1,400.
guys.
So we got
Okay,
reports
guys,
of
1 second, 1 second, 1 second. Listen, this is okay. Now we realize this guy's a Jewish Zionist, hence why he was like, I don't believe in humanity or empathy. Hence why he
I
believes in the
believe that
murdering of.
war is
Hence,
war.
hence why you
War
believe in
is
the
war.
murdering. Hence why you believe in the murdering of children. Hence why you believe in the murdering of human beings. Now we know what you're all about, right? We're going back to the reporting of your country getting absolutely destroyed by Iran, and then them needing, like pussies, the help of the United States of America, the United Kingdom, based on blackmail they've done through Jeffrey Epstein, probably one of
It's
your
all the
cousins.
white
Are you
countries
is one
versus the brown Muslims, baby,
is
and
one of
the
your
whites are taking back the
no?
Middle
Well, you're
East.
not
All
white.
right.
Wait. You're not white. You're Jewish. You're Jewish, and
Oh,
you're the
I
one
am
who.
white.
No,
Jesus
no,
was
you're
white.
Jewish. You're Jewish, and your people destroyed the Western civilization. You're destroying the First Amendment, and you've derailed the space. Right. Okay. I didn't know he was a Jewish Zionist guy. That's
I
interesting.
And
Uh,
Jesus
messaged
was a
you.
Palestinian, you
I'm
idiot.
honest.
Maze,
Every
these
every
people that
single
follow
time.
you are absolutely bat
I
crazy.
mean, she asked me. She
Maze,
asked
you
me.
Listen,
She
you
didn't
got
ask me to bring it
Maze, you
up.
got to
I
take
But
full
have
I didn't know he
ownership
was
for
a
this
Jewish
one.
Zionist. I thought he just like an average American who just
guys,
doesn't know
I got
better. But
some
obviously,
breaking
once you
news.
realize
well,
that a
check
Jewish
the
Zionist.
other message. I messaged you. I was just saying. I thought you were responding.
She
Yeah, you
just
might have been responding to
she
something
brought him
else.
up for
Guys,
Oh yeah,
entertainment
you did write it.
purposes.
Sorry,
Hey,
I missed that bit.
can I
look.
I
get
missed
the
that bit. But anyway, let's get back to the space. Um, he was probably set in for infiltration. The guy was calling me brother, in a private DMs. Like, hey brother, send me. Listen, but you know what it is? I think it's good for the audience, so you can see the psychology. So there's people who believe in humanity and people who don't. He was like, I don't care. It's about strength. And then when we said you haven't got strength, he's like, oh, it's about alliances. And when we said there's no benefit, then he's like, oh, because we've got Americans there. When we're like, they're Israeli, then no answer. So
So
it's a
Ramon,
big stream. Yeah,
can I get us back on track?
yeah. Please do give us the latest news.
Well, no. I'm gonna pose to the panel a question that was requested of me to pose to you. That is, hold on, let me get it exactly.
Can I give this breaking news before you do that? Is that all right?
Sure, please.
That's all right. So we have two reports. We got new reports are coming in of attacks in Isfahan, sorry, and then also there's a report stating that the Mehrabad airport was actually sabotaged. and that's the result of the big fire that we see going on there.
Oh yeah, I posted that one. So the question for the panel, thank you so much. The question for the panel to discuss, and I do have to leave for a little while. How does Israel, quote unquote, win this war? What does that look like? Like, what are their specific objectives, do you think? And I know we've got Simon up here too, so I'd love to hear all that. And then once that's answered, the question would be, what does Iran then have to do to stop that win? And what does a win look like for Iran? So maybe that's a good thing for everybody to discuss. Question is from Tofal Rashid.
Thanks, Doctor. So the first one is, what does a win look like for Iran?
For Israel.
For Israel, and then? For Israel, and then for Iran? Is that the
How
second one?
does Iran stop it?
A win for Israel.
Oh,
is
I'm sorry. I'm
basically
talking into
regime
closed
change.
microphone. Darn it. The question is, what does a win look like for Israel? What are their specific objectives? And then what does Iran have to do to stop that win? And what does a win look like for Iran?
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. It's a win for Israel's regime change, toppling the IRGC.
That's just their one objective. I think it goes a little deeper than that.
Well, there's more caveats that come with it, but obviously that would be the main goal, is to topple them the same way they toppled Syria and the same way they tried to do in Lebanon and others.
So I think this person was looking for, as this panel is so brilliant, a little bit more of an in-depth take on it. I don't know, maybe Simon, you want to weigh in on this a little bit? If you're still here, Simon.
If anything, well, I'll say in terms of both sides, right? So if a win for Israel, if we're going to call it that, as you know, I guess as Hussein said, would be either getting rid of all the hardliners, having regime change, putting a puppet of theirs in Iran, and crippling any sort of operational capacity that Iran has, destroying any of their nuclear facilities, and really just doing as much damage as possible, and seeing what's happening in Gaza, but on a much larger scale with Iran. Those are the two ways it can go. Either regime change and replacing people and crippling all of their operations, or flat out destroying a large segment of Iran and really just doing lots of damage. And then going from there and increasing operations in Gaza, taking the West Bank, and getting control of oil in the region, and doing a lot of damage in that front. The way I see Iran having a win would be to cripple Israel in terms of their operations, destroy their airfields, destroy their nuclear facilities, do a lot of cyber damage as well, and really kind of, I guess, on a global stage, force the Arab states to side against Israel, and to essentially force them to stand down. I don't think it's likely that Arab states are going to get to that point, but I think that would be a win condition. That'd be a win condition, I think, for Iran. That's at least my 2 cents.
Well,
Well,
I
I
would
think
say they're going for the Greater Israel project, and
Yeah.
they're not really going to consider a win till they get there. And they've been working with the proxies, taking them out, and Iran's really the big, piece on the chessboard. So if they can actually decapitate and make Iran ineffective, then the rest is just kind of just cleanup job, bit by bit, slow attrition, moving in, same way as they've been doing, like Chief Chumps were saying, on a grander scale. But how do they win? How does Iran stop it or even win? They would have to do very specific strikes. I don't know exactly how direct or how perfect their strikes are. They would have to have the same ability to do key strikes in key locations to really do the same thing, a technical, strategic decapitation, and then possibly some kind of a deal brokered by Putin or Trump or whoever. Because I don't honestly see just going toe to toe forever. Because if Israel does go down to complete ashes, I guarantee you America will get involved, unfortunately.
Yeah, and to elaborate though on your point, I think that the key for I guess the two key areas that Iran needs to go after would be any airfield, any place that has like an airstrip or whatever where they launch military planes. They need to cripple that. They need to go ahead and get rid of the air force that Israel has and prevent them from launching things. Make it so it's very tough for them to get in the air. The other area would be nuclear facilities, nuclear sites, nuclear research centers, and even like the scientists. That whole entire area because Iran they lost a bunch of their nuclear scientists. They lost a ton of their nuclear facilities as well. So Iran would need to go and do the exact same thing right back to Israel as well, and do some operational damage with their nuclear sites. And more, I think one of the bigger things would be to have in conjunction other Arab states, maybe even like bring in either China or Russia or get them involved in some way with negotiations, and completely sideline America and work something out there. But I think that the key targets is again are going to be the airfields, anything that has like a landing strip, and then of course the nuclear facilities that Israel has.
Just a couple points. Iran hasn't lost any of its nuclear sites. They've struck the surface of it. Remember, they're buried deep down underground, past 150 meters. The best bunker buster can at best strike within maybe 15 to 20 meters below surface, so it's not even close. You might feel some reverberations and slight damage at best, but remember, these facilities are designed to be able to withstand earthquakes, 6, 7, 8. Iran's had earthquakes in the past, much less a bunker buster. So there's that too. In terms of victory for Israel, I mean, they want to balkanize Iran and steal its resources. They're not going to say that part out loud, though they've disclosed it in the past, just like they've done with other countries like Syria. Occupy it, steal its resources, be in control of its resources, and then control where it gets exported to as well, so they can make money off that as well. And of course, steal its gold, steal its resources, and there's already a bunch of, there's over 100 billion in assets that are frozen as well. But yeah, they do want to do a regime change, install the Shah, that crown prince or whatever, the guy that pledged allegiance to the wall, the Pahlavi guy. That's their ideal objective because he's easy to control and he'll be a good stooge, just like his father was. And yeah, this way they can try to control the populace and have probably the equivalent of the Savak there as well, which is a Secret Service, their agency or whatever you want to call it, Secret Service that they used
Sabak
to be
was
able
the
to.
Secret Service under the Shah. It was
So there you have it.
like their CIA.
Yeah, yeah, internal. So it was mainly used to go after political dissidents, put them in jail, torture them, and force their compliance to the regime. So that's how they maintained, the allegiance to the Shah. They just want to install another phony stooge puppet regime like they've done in, the other Arab states and like Saudi, UAE, Bahrain, etc. Because those are easy to control. But again, it's a pipe dream. I don't see that happening. Iran's too big of a country, and they certainly can't do it by themselves. They've already been getting a lot of help from America. America's helped intercept some of the missiles. I think the claim is drones as well, in addition to help from Jordan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and of course France and the UK. So I mean, Israel's getting a lot of help from various countries, and they still got leveled pretty hard today. And again, we won't know the extent of the damage in Israel because they're doing their best to hide it, and they've limited media coverage and given a directive to their citizens not to post anything. Though some stuff has been posted, I guess the stuff they couldn't hide. So we know it's a lot worse. There's more injuries and deaths absolutely reported. There's definitely casualties. They won't say how many. I mean, win for Iran is incapacitating Israel and ideally just restoring it to Palestine. And the Jews left over will be, prosecuted for their crimes, their various war crimes they've committed, not just on Iran, obviously within Palestine and elsewhere. Stripped of their wealth. And then, in my vision, is, that some of them will be put in jail and in labor camps. They'll rebuild, the various cities they've destroyed. And then once they've paid their debt to society, it's on the judge and jury to decide in the various countries they'll be prosecuted in. That includes America as well, by the way, because these guys are global criminals. The Jews are a global criminal syndicate, and they've been committing crimes, historically for many generations. So they need to be prosecuted for all their crimes, besides genocide, rape, pedophilia, organ harvesting, slavery, human trafficking, human
Just some
sex
break.
trafficking, all of it.
Let me just give some quick breaking news. Breaking. Oh, flip, there's two breaking news. Okay, so the first piece of breaking news is we've got more footage coming out from Tel Aviv. footage of Iranians calmly preparing for Eid al-Ghadir while air defense systems were. Oh no, we had talked about that earlier. And then the other one is North Korea says this tweets in the nest. North Korea says it is prepared to repel the Israeli attack in cooperation with Iran. So North Korea says it's prepared to repel the Israeli attack in cooperation with Iran. That is the latest news. That tweet is in the nest. It seems to be a bit more quiet on the news front at the moment. Let me just check it out. But Nathan, you got anything new or Doc?
I'm having a look now. I'm just trying to confirm a report stating that there is a new attack on the Natanz nuclear facility, but I don't know if it's correct or not. So I'm just double checking first.
All right.
Kim Jong-un doing his thing. Back to you, miss.
Yeah, no, I'm just, I might as well just address everyone at the same time, guys. Relax. Everybody got a chance to at least see what that mindset is. I do, I love y'all. You guys are so funny. But it does bring about a lot of outrage when you can, come face to face with some apathy and the supremacy. That was kind of crazy. I didn't expect it, but it is what it is. But with that being said, guys, repost the space.
Yeah, so just
Please.
real quickly, sorry,
Oh,
Maze.
sure.
Apologies. So I believe this attack on the Natanz nuclear facility is credible because there's multiple sources, other channels and sources reporting it as well. And also there's reports of explosions in eastern Tehran, neighborhoods of Hakimeh and Elevazan.
Okay, we got some more breaking news as well. Just when we thought there was a bit of lull, we had the Jewish Zionists come up to give us a bit of entertainment for a short period of time to show the mind of this individual. I actually got a really nice message in the DM saying, "We're glad you let him come up and say what he's got to say," because it really did give us an insight into the psyche of these people, because sometimes you don't realize it or experience it. But yeah, the tweet is in the nest. It is breaking news. I guess we've got another wave of attacks going towards Israel, because breaking news, according to Israeli media, drones are coming from the east, are heading towards Israel. So that is the latest news. Drones coming from the east are heading towards Israel. That's happening right now.
Wow.
I was going to say it is interesting that America has not actually got directly involved yet. And Trump was saying recently about letting people fight, like letting the children fight. Do you remember him saying that about Russia and Ukraine just the other day? He's like, sometimes you just got to let them fight it out a little bit. So perhaps there might be an ability to let some volleys go back and forth, and maybe cooler heads may prevail at some point. We'll see.
Just real quickly, so it seems we've got a bit of pushback from U.S. politicians. Obviously, it's kind of expected. It's Bernie Sanders. He says the conflict between Israel, one sec, sorry. He said emphasizing the U.S. involvement in the conflict between Israel and Iran is unacceptable.
Well, tell him to tell
Could you
him
repeat
louder
that?
that. Go ahead,
Sorry, so he says U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders spoke sharply about the situation in the Middle East, emphasizing that the U.S. involvement in the conflict between Israel and Iran is unacceptable.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, well,
Sorry, I was going to talk shit. I think it's unacceptable that we have all of our politicians here that are all calling on, people to pray for Israel, pray for peace when we literally just saw them preemptively attack Iran for no reason, without any proof, without any, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's almost like this acting with impunity is dangerous to the world. And how the fuck so sorry, Khaleesi. How do people not see that? How do people not see that this is dangerous for the world when you have this level of complete apathy and complete just, it's
They've been
unlike
able to
anything I've
convince
ever seen.
people.
Just some breaking
Yeah.
news as well. The tweets in the nest. Iran's air defense systems are attempting to repel Israeli attacks targeting Isfahan. So, as Iranian air defense systems are attempting to repel Israeli attacks targeting Isfahan.
Just real quickly, it's because they've been able to convince people who the bad guy is, Maze. like without people actually like knowing of a person doing anything wrong. It's like they just say, "Oh, that guy's a bad guy. Stay away from him," and people just like they believe it. They don't do their own, they don't have
Well,
their
I'm
own
talking
critical
about
thinking.
our U.S. politicians. These people are paid, okay? First of all, they're paid by us to actually have our best interests at stake, but then they're also paid off by Israel lobbies that are giving them a dispatch. It's like everybody right now go and post your support for Israel. And just like the stupid zombies they are, they do it. Have you guys not seen it?
Yeah, no, I
It's
agree with you. I
crazy.
thought you were talking about
Yeah.
the general populace.
Oh,
My
yeah.
bad.
No, the general populace, actually, to be honest with you, the reason why this space has this many people in it is because I think that people, public, are for the most part good. This, unless you're paid to support Israel, or unless you're actually Jewish and believe in the whole Zionism thing, there's really nobody else out there that support, well, the evangelicals probably, but that's more the faith-based. But there's nobody that's just an objective viewer from the outside that's saying, "All right, good job." It's like, what the hell are you doing?
Just
Sorry.
just some more news. You're gonna find this shocking, but not shocking. Israel is arresting its own citizens for filming Iranian missile hits. The Israeli military has put out an official warning accusing his own citizens of collaborating with the enemy for filming strikes. This is why there's
Salamat.
limited footage out of the Iranian missiles attacks outside of Tel Aviv. Yep.
Say, Solomon, where's the ADL? This is pure anti-Semitism. Jews arresting Jews. This reminds me of 10/7 when Jews were killing Jews. This is
I
just
think
pure,
I agree. I
astonishing.
agree. I can just hear Eyal Yakubi saying he does not feel safe.
Oy vey, oy vey. They're
Yeah,
going to be
it's actually
clutching.
been 4 people arrested. I actually reported this probably an hour ago. Sorry.
That's
So
interesting.
4 people have been arrested. Nathan says that's makes it even more significant. Part of it was tongue in cheek, like I knew it was true, but we didn't think I didn't know they'd arrested someone. So yeah, they've actually arrested people as well. So this is why there's limited. So just think about this from from the information perspective. So despite the fact that we've got footage of complete destruction in Tel Aviv, despite that being the case, that is limited footage because they've not allowed footage out because they're threatening to arrest people when actual footage is coming out. And this is why, when it comes to footage outside of Tel Aviv, the footage that we've got is actually almost non-existent. It's very limited. So this explains it. So what that tells you is the situation on the ground in Tel Aviv, in Israel, is going to be significantly worse. But Israel's arresting its own citizens for showing exactly what's happening in Israel.
So,
Back to you, Miz.
also, we got another report of a airstrike at gangster radar station in Karaj.
Well, um, okay, sorry, I wasn't trying to shift gears, but I just now saw this. You guys may have covered it earlier, but since we're edging closer to tomorrow, former CIA Director Mike Pompeo warns that a major incident could occur somewhere in the world and suggests that Iran may be behind it. He claims Iran has terrorist cells in nearly every country, including the United States, and that says that it could be activated to launch cyber attacks and other strikes. Pompeo
You
urges
know what
strong
that means?
support.
Mossad.
False flag
Mossad, yeah.
incoming.
Exactly,
Flying
that's what I'm
flying
saying.
saucers and drones.
Flying saucers. That was funny. I'm sorry. But yeah, so and I really do condemn all of the propagandists that have been sitting here talking about, ooh, the Muslim Brotherhood, they're all over our country. They all came from Iran. Like, now you know that the people you're following that's pushing that line are the propagandists that are trying to make you think some shit just so that you support a war against Iran. Um, but who knows? I think false flag will be coming, but we all know who's behind it. But yeah, go ahead, Nathan. Did you unmic?
No, it's a glitch. It might be glitching. It does that sometimes.
Yeah. So, um, but anyway, I am concerned. I think tomorrow is going to be an interesting day. I don't know if any of you have been following all of the cities that are going to be having all these protests and well, I guess there's a combination of the parade as well as the protests. But go ahead, Joa. What's your take?
No, have you seen? Have any of you seen where Israel's firing rockets from? It's from inside the cities, like right next to residential buildings. Like this is
Yeah, that's
something they
air defense
complain
system.
about all the time. What?
That's air defense systems that's firing. So basically, what was happening was they were firing through the.
Still, it's a valid
No, I
target,
agree.
Nathan.
I agree.
Next to residential building, that they always complain. Only Hamas does this. They have people next to residents. Da da da. And literally, you can watch a video of rockets being fired from residential areas, right next to
That's
residential
that area
buildings.
in the center of Tel Aviv, which is by the command center.
Joe,
Yeah,
if
that's
anybody did
crazy.
some research, right? Sorry, just real quickly, and they actually went and like say, all right, looked up all Israel's military facilities, you would have known this by now. Literally, everyone who's really
No,
knows what they're.
I knew the
Not saying
Mossad
you. I'm
building
not talking about you
is
in general.
literally
I'm
like
talking
in the
about this.
Rockefeller Center.
No, I'm just talking
Like
about
I know
because
the
they always
Mossad
use.
building is right
Sorry,
next to.
just real quick, Joe. Because they always use that argument about Hamas using human shields, blah blah blah. But we know they're the only ones who's actually appealed a ruling against their own judiciary for using human shields. And like I
What's
said,
up,
if you were
everybody?
just
I'm here. I
do
am
a
just
quick
watching
research
along. I
of
will be
all their
joining soon. Just
military
wrapping up dinner.
installations and facilities,
Make
you
sure
would
that
have seen
you
that they were
put
all
some
nearly most of them
comments in the
near
chat
civilian infrastructure.
and let me know what you think of all this
Yeah, that
stuff.
stuff I knew. I didn't know that they were using their air defenses like right in the middle. Um, that I didn't know. I've seen the picture of them strapping Palestinians to the front of their Humvees to use as human shields. I've seen them use old men to walk into buildings to see if they're booby trapped, old Palestinian men to see if they're booby trapped. I've seen them use children to go, Palestinian children to go into the tunnels before them to see if they're trapped. Like they constantly use human shields, but somehow it's the other side that does it. It's pretty crazy. But now you see clear evidence that even their weaponry is in the middle of residential buildings, but then they'll cry and be like, look, they hit a residential building. I'm sure that's going to happen. This false flag thing, I'm very scared of. I mean, some people started to believe that Israel is the one, sorry, that Iran is the one that tried to commit an assassination on Trump, which was the most ridiculous thing ever because they have no advantage in doing so. It's not like Trump is more of a threat to them than Biden was. It would make zero sense, but of course, certain people fell for it. So I am worried about what happens in the next coming days. Um, but you have to see through their lies. That's why I wanted to talk about these weapon systems so people can see that video.
I'm seeing, sorry, just want to say this really quickly. Again, if you guys
Sorry,
post,
can I? Sorry.
okay, go ahead.
Just wanted to say that there is a post out that the RGC Major General Vahidi has announced targets that have been struck so far. Nevatam Air Base, F-35, F-16, and F-15 fighter jets, heavy fuel tankers, command and control centers, electronic warfare centers, Ministry of War, and military industrial centers.
Thank you, Dr. Roshanak. I'm going to
Thank you
follow.
for putting up with me,
What
Maze.
are you talking about, girl? Listen, I'm telling you, this is like the dream team. Everybody's like, pew, 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 like covering all of this from every angle, I think is amazing. I did see this.
100%. Just some
Yeah.
more breaking news. Sorry, great information there. Iran's telecommunication systems in the Karaj region are being targeted by Israel as well. So Iran's telecommunication systems in the Karaj region are also being targeted by Israel. That tweets in the nest. Back to you, Miz.
Um, okay, thank you. So there is and I'm checking it right now, about Iran's earlier attack against Israel. Their advanced missiles broke through combined IDF and U.S. defenses and forced Israel to resort to shooting smaller rockets to attempt to intercept them, according to Fox News correspondent. Anyway, I'm grokking this first to see if I can find any corroborating evidence of it. But guys, post your sources. It makes it so much easier. But yeah.
Yeah, so I got a post from Donald Trump on True Social. I think this is recent. So he says, I gave Iran chance after chance to make a deal. I told them in the strongest of words, to just do it. But no matter how hard they tried, I don't know, that doesn't make any sense. No matter how close
That's
they
old
got,
school though.
is that old? Sorry.
Y'all,
Yeah,
okay.
that was like from either this morning or yesterday. Yeah.
No
Yeah,
worries.
15 hours ago.
Thanks, guys. So, look, U.S. military involvement has been confirmed by NBC and Fox News. And then it says it marks a rare escalation with assets deployed to protect American citizens and interests, challenging the narrative of a purely bilateral Israel Iran conflict and hinting to a broader geopolitical stakes and ongoing nuclear tensions. That's crazy. Via Grok. But, all right. So I will bring up a couple of more people. I'm kind of scared. I see some of my. You guys always.
I could drop down if you
No,
like.
no, there's room. There's room. You're good. I'm
Okay.
just listen.
She's talking about bringing up Zios.
Oh my God. It was fun actually getting the Zio on board. It was like getting the band back together. It was great. Smash him.
It was definitely a shot of espresso. Woke everybody up. But yeah, I'm gonna bring some people up. But guys, make sure that you have already reposted the space and you're following the hosts, Suleiman and Khaleesi, and you put the notifications on. No one's covering this like they are, and they're gonna continue all the way until the end. And hopefully, well, I don't know. I think I'm actually whenever I'm saying like I'm hoping for peace, I know that there's a side of me that's like, well, we know that with what's been happening, there won't be peace, unless something major happens. But at the same time, hopefully, no innocent people. With that being said, guys, repost and yeah, go ahead, jump in, Dr. Rowe. Oh, that's not you
Just
Just
some,
waving.
real
That's
just,
me.
quickly,
just some news. I think it's breaking, but anyway, it's a statement from the Iran's supreme leader Khamenei. He said Iran to punish Israel with deadly strikes. Iran to punish Israel for their deadly strikes. So that's coming. That's a statement by him. It's a video message that he put out. Back to you, Mez.
Thank you. Is Ian still here? So I was gonna elaborate on the stuff that Ian was talking about earlier when we were talking about the Project Esther and how and if you guys don't know about Project Esther, I highly, highly recommend that you look it up. It's something that was part of the Heritage Foundation. And before, and so funny. I mean, there's those that are the ones that are pulling the line that are like, Trump doesn't have anything to do with that. Well, I would beg to differ because there's lots of proof that it's happening. There's legislation being passed. There's our resources and law enforcement, both federal and local level law enforcement, as well as technology, is being used to advance their interests. So this is something that would be pegging anyone. You guys remember how they moved from like pro Palestine equals pro Hamas, and then now pro Hamas is pro terrorist. What they're doing is making any critical, any criticism, there we go, that's the word, of Israel as anti American. And so that would qualify you to land on these lists, which would then give them much more of a green light to be able to surveil you and potentially deport you should you be on a visa, whether it's work or school. And if you're a dual citizen to any country that could be deemed as an adversary, you could also get deported. And then there could be also civil type of implications otherwise, which is all about the whole anti-Semitism, which is crazy. So I thought that that was an important topic to bring back up in case people aren't aware of it.
Mate, there's even a really obscure incentive mechanism.
Sorry,
Like,
Kevin. There's breaking news. There's American helicopters on the border of Iran, and there's video of it as well. I'll
Yeah,
send
I'll
it to you.
just post. I'm just posting that
Oh,
right now. I've got it, but appreciate that, Joe.
Yikes. What do you guys think that's going to lead to? You think, do you guys think that they will ever get Iran to go back to the negotiating table or no?
Yes.
Not unless
I believe so.
they're willing to bend the knee to Iran, because I don't think Iran's going to come back to the table unless they're feeling like the U.S. is going to make concessions. Iran's not going to be making any concessions from this point forward. I don't see it.
Well, there's going to be a lot more bloodshed pretty soon, so you don't know what people are going to be willing to make deals about in the next few days.
Yeah,
That's what I'm thinking.
they would have never initiated a retaliation attack if they were just going to bow the knee and be cucked, because that's what this is about. It's about being cucked, and Iran doesn't want to be cucked. And what happened is Trump thought he was going to call their bluff. He thought Iran was bluffing. But it turns out that Trump is now the one who has to decide if he's bluffing or not, because Iran has decided that no, we're not going to let you keep pushing us back. We've been trying to play nice. We've been playing by the rules. We've not been headbutting. We've not been punching below the belt, and they're tired now. So it's about calling bluffs, and I think Iran is now put the ball back into the U.S. and Israel's court now.
You know,
Just the breaking news, which Joa mentioned, and this is linked to the escalation with the United States of America. But American helicopters are flying near Iran's border. So again, you can see America continue to antagonize, continue to support Israel, continue to act like an enemy, they helped them with the strikes that Iran did against Israel. So yeah, that's just more evidence of that. And that tweet is in the nest.
thank you, Solomon. The reason why I'm asking is, let's just say they do go to the table to negotiate. The thing is that you can't negotiate with such a freaking wild card. Israel's not going to listen to shit. They don't keep their agreements. They've never kept their agreements. They do whatever they want to do at will. And I think that the negotiation, the bottom line of it, would have to be very significant about their entire governing, decision making, military. Like, it would have to shift that dramatically. And I don't even know if that would even be possible. But to negotiate what Iran can do, I just feel like that's kind of an FU at this point. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
I agree, Mace. I agree, Mace. And like, to add to that, I believe if like Iran has to be very cautious with the negotiation tactic. We've seen it used against the resistance, where the resistance follows the rules. It tries to stick to the so-called international laws that we see are non-existent in places like Gaza, Palestine. But they try to follow these rules that Israel does not follow, and then Israel uses this against them to their advantage. So if I believe coming to the table too soon could absolutely hurt Iran in a massive way, and it would be just another trick, just like how we saw it happen just now with Donald Trump. Basically how he was like the false flag almost, where he's trying to act like he wants to talk about negotiating and deals, and then the last few days he's fine with Israel, but doing this bombing. So I think this is what Iran's gonna have to be very cautious of. It's gonna have to be like what you said, a very serious deal, and that's gonna have to be done precisely, and it can't be going back on its word. But I don't see that happening with the genocide or entity called Israel. I believe this is all going on because Netanyahu Milikowski and his entire government, they want to stay in power. That's why Netanyahu has ran away to Greece. He's ran away, he's fled Israel while it's being attacked, and he's using all those colonial settlers, Israelis, as human shields, as we see it as well. This is what explains it all. So I hope that helps.
Thanks.
What do you guys think is actually going to happen if North Korea gets involved? Like, what do you think their involvement will actually look like? How do you think that will manifest?
I think that's a good question, Simon. Oh, go ahead, Hussein.
Probably just defense. I think also Pakistan said the same thing. They were just for defense. I don't know if they would actually go on the offensive.
Well, like what? Planes, jets, missile
Like
defense? What are we
helping,
talking
yeah,
about
like
here?
helping take down missiles, essentially.
With fighter jets in
Probably
theater?
that and fighter jets. Probably missiles and fighter jets.
I mean, how close is North Korea
It's
to
not
the
close at
theater
all.
right there?
Yeah,
It's
they're not close at all.
I think it's more of a symbolic posturing, saying we are nuclear. So use your nuke, we'll use ours. Is what North Korea is saying.
Right. This just basically brings us down like every domino towards World War III that's ever been
No, it's
thought
not.
of.
It's not. It's a deterrent. It's basically saying you use your nuke, we use ours, so let's not bother.
Right, and that's why I never believed in the Samson option. It was always bullcrap. It's canceled out because it's not just Israel that has these sort of weapons, and if Israel did use these sort of weapons, like it would come with massive consequences that I don't even think genocide or demons would be willing to take. But who knows at this point? I mean, with the way that Israel's been moving.
No, I agree. It's a really good thing. It's just basically posturing, saying let's not talk about nukes anymore. No one needs to talk about nukes.
I would stay close to
At
that.
least Trump will get to say "Rocket Man" again.
That's
Well,
Yeah,
I
Trump
hope
likes little
China.
rocket man.
I hope China says something here, though, because if China came in and said the same thing, I really think Israel doesn't have a chance to use them.
China
Right.
will never do it. I mean, China's and you know they're Switzerland in this occasion. They have their private alliances, but they won't. They'll condemn the things that need to be condemned.
But aren't they getting a ton of oil from Iran at the moment?
They are, but they've got their relationships with Israel as well. Like it's these countries they maintain their relationships. They've got their allies. But China's job is to remain neutral in all of this and not take a side.
Just
Do you think that it's actually going to
can I answer
de-escalate
the
having
North
North
Korea
Korea?
question real quickly?
Yeah,
Because you asked,
absolutely. It's a de-escalation.
But Simon, they parked their warships near the coast of Iran before when Israel was threatening Iran. So they did take a side.
Say that
Yeah,
again,
I
sorry,
don't think
Joe.
it's
I'd be surprised if they
de-escalation
don't.
though.
Say that
I
again,
don't
Joe,
think
or I
it's
missed that.
de-escalation at all.
They parked their warships. The last time that Israel attacked Iran, they moved their warships to the coast of Iran. So that was
It's not.
kind of like a
There's
deterrent to
levels.
Israel.
There's levels of this thing. Iran's also a member of BRICS and part of the Belt and Road Initiative, and they have significant trade with China. I mean, the 2 million barrels a day, among other things that Iran imports from China. They do a lot of bartering with China. There's a deep relationship there. It's not the same as the relationship between China and Israel, so I wouldn't compare it. And plus, between China, Russia, and Iran do military exercises together as well, and they also share tech. So
No, I agree.
that's fascinating.
The relationship is way more significant, but China would rather, not have to. They'll
They're not
only
going to
use that if they have to.
outwardly, they won't outwardly take a side, but they know which relationship they value more.
Guys,
Yeah,
can I
100%.
just take a moment and I just wanted to welcome Oscar to the stage, Oscar Ramirez. He is a journalist. He's been on the spaces where we were covering the borders. He was kind of, he's boots on the ground. He's been in the Darien Gap, and he's had just such valuable from the inside kind of input with all of his reporting. And I just wanted to give you a warm welcome, Oscar. And I hear that you might have some more very interesting information as it pertains to what's going on in the Middle East. So,
You got to plug that famous video clip of Oscar's. Come on, and be remiss if I didn't do it. He was the one that interviewed the Mexican at that house or whatever,
yeah.
where there were a bunch of bodies buried, and discovered how the cartel learned how to dispose of bodies through the sulfuric acid solution, and they're very corrosive acids. So that's how they're able to dispose of bodies. And then when asked how they learned, they said from Israel, from an Israeli agent, likely Mossad, that's there. Who also provides them with their, espionage equipment like Pegasus and other weapons they provide. Sorry, Oscar, didn't mean to steal your thunder. It was more of a plug.
Hi, Oscar. How are you?
Thank you for the invitation, Mace. Good evening. Thank you for this space. We are in south of the border. Yes, we knew about what was going to happen today with the Israel attack, directly into Iran. I have been as a war correspondent in the part of Israel in the line of Gaza in the year 2023 after a month that October 7th happened. And also I was in the borders with Lebanon in the part of Malkiya and also in the part of Jish. Close to the kibbutz. Also, when it was the complete confrontation between also the IDF and also Hezbollah. Both of them attacking massively between each other. We knew that this was going to be a certain strategy. We know how the IDF, if it is going to completely attack, and was how they were going to try to ambush the Iranian forces. The attack that they did First, it was a strike. It was a direct strike. It was a strategical strike with a ballistic missile. But we knew that this was bound to happen. They have done this strategy before. Hamas has done this strategy before. Has ambushed the Iron Dome from one particular side, so the Iron Dome gets completely overwhelmed with ground-to-ground missiles. This is the most particular missile that they can throw first, so the Iron Dome can be completely overwhelmed. Also with rocket launchers, and after that, they will throw a ballistic missile so they can directly go to the direct target. That in particularly it will be the target right now that Iran is trying to hit is particularly Tel Aviv. They did exactly the same thing. We, talking to Ryan Mata, I told him earlier today that Iran was going to try to ambush by the part of Gaza, and that actually happened. Multiple ground-to-ground missiles were happening on the part of Ashkelon, on the part of Ezra, that were completely alerts, consistent alerts with ground-to-ground missiles and rocket launchers to that particular site. And later on, a ballistic missile entered the Iron Dome. As the Iron Dome, now the Iranian forces have found a way to enter it, and the way to enter it, has been, the Da Vinci Code for this Iron Dome has been completely open. You overwhelm them from one particular site, and you will make them vulnerable from another one. And that is actually what happened today. And later on tonight, I think that tonight is going to be, as I have been there, I have been in a vulnerable area also in the part of Ezra when there was multiple attacks between Hamas and the IDF. I believe strongly that tonight is going to be extremely heavy. More ballistic missiles are going to be thrown by Iran. They're going to try to ambush later on, at the early hours, particular sites from the part of Gaza and make it more as a vulnerable site to that particular area so the IDF can concentrate to remove their people from that particular area and put them in the middle. Remember, Netanyahu has also done this strategy, has pulled their citizens from these particular areas into the central parts. The Northern Galilee, the people from the Northern Galilee do not want to leave their property. They have asked them to move out and to move into Jerusalem so they can rent them hotels and particular locations so they can be more secure. Also, Netanyahu has told people from those particular areas in the part of Hezron and Ashkelon, and certain areas that they were between confrontations, to move them out and move them into the central parts of Jerusalem. Now, let's see what happens in the late hours. I believe strongly, as a war correspondent, that I have been there a couple of times covering this conflict. I believe strongly that now the Iranian forces, they know how to beat the Iron Dome, and one of the ways that they're going to beat the Iron Dome is they're going to try to overwhelm the attacks with ground-to-ground missiles, with rocket launchers. Particularly, they're going to try to do it with one specific area, like they have been doing it today. They did a wave of ground-to-ground missiles, and then they went on with the ballistic missile that it is completely going directly into a target, as also the IDF forces did earlier today. So I believe my analysis that I can say later on today that it can happen in the early hours. There's going to be more critical ballistic missile attacks into the most vulnerable areas and the most important areas to Israel, that they're going to try to protect Tel Aviv. That is the particular most important zone for Israel, and ultimately they're going to try the air defense from Iran. It is clearly surprising me a lot. We thought that it was not that strong. We thought that it was not that, I thought that it was not that strong. I thought
I
that it
have
was
some
going to be
questions for you, Oscar,
overwhelmed.
before, but I
Yes,
just,
go
before,
ahead.
well, just because I didn't want you to get too far away from them. By the way, it sounds like there's some explosions going on in your, in your background. I don't know. I hope you're safe. But yeah, so when you heard about the whole preemptive attack that they were going to do on Iran and all of that, so do you think that this was to push them into some sort of negotiation? Do you think that they're trying to take Iran out of the equation, or a regime change? I mean, what's your I guess the political thoughts around that, if you have any? And then I have some more about the weaponry, and I see that there's some hands too, but I do want to hear everything you have to say. But can you answer that real quick?
Yes, absolutely. The attack was strategical. The attack was to push. And I'm sorry about the music. You were in the lobby of the hotel. I apologize for that in the audience. The attack was strategical. The attack was to push Iran and using the justification of nuclear weapons. Ultimately, that was the number one justification as they are using as particular as of right now. And they provoked this attack, not knowing that Iran already knew how to overwhelm the Iron Dome. Netanyahu, I believe, at that particular point in juncture, he is extremely surprised of how the Iron Dome got challenged and got penetrated, and they never thought that their ballistic missiles had the capacity ultimately to enter and to hit Tel Aviv. That is one of the most protected areas that the Iron Dome had. I have seen the Iron Dome work multiple times, and I've seen them effectively, as in the part of Lebanon and also in the part of Gaza. But yes, Max, to your question, I think that this was a thing that it was a critical attack that it was provoked for Iran to respond, and then later on the political conflict, as you already know.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Matt, did you have something on that specifically? I saw your hand fly up, and then
Just
we can.
just before we
Yeah.
go to Matt, just some breaking
Okay.
news. Just some breaking news. So the Venezuelan president Nicolas Maduro, he's weighed in on this, and he said, "quote We stand in solidarity with the peoples of Iran, Palestine, Yemen, Syria, and Lebanon." So that's Nicolas Maduro. People ask, like, why you support Maduro in elections? This is why, because we know who are the Zios and who are the anti-Zios. Also, there was a big push by the Zionist media, including but not limited to Elon Musk, who, and also it was proven through USA that these people were getting funding, but they were supporting his opposition, who was a link to the Israeli Mossad. So we knew these things. We know on politics, and so it's good to see Maduro coming out with this statement. Nicolas Maduro, he's always coming out with some golden points. Yeah, so shout out to him for standing with, as he said in the tweet in the nest, with the people of Iran, Palestine, Yemen, and Lebanon and Syria. Back to you, Miz.
Sully, that's why I don't get the support for Bolsonaro, to be honest, who's very pro-Zio as well in
Who supports
Brazil.
Bolsonaro?
A lot of people who are pro-Palestinian are pro-Bolsonaro in
Well,
Brazil,
Are they?
and I
I
always
thought
find
they.
it
I thought
strange.
they. I thought it's only Margaret isn't in the right wing because Lula is well known to be extremely pro-Palestinian.
Yeah, he is. That's why I don't understand why they're
okay.
against him.
No,
Well,
but which pro-Palestinians support thingy? I don't think there is any. Other than obviously some of these, like, oh, we hate the Jews, but then we support all Zionists whenever the. Other than a few within that crowd, but who supports Bolsonaro? I actually should have seen it.
It's more right wing, more right wing, like MAGA people who are also pro-Palestinian that also
Okay,
then
yeah.
support Bolsonaro.
But they always do, like, any kind of major issue. They're always on the side of Zionists they like love Conor McGregor and they love Tommy Robinson. They'll join Tommy Robinson when he tells them to riot and these type of things. So they got them. They're never consistent. So I agree with that. Yeah, for sure. Or they'll support Le Pen and these type of things.
okay.
I was going to ask
Yeah.
Oscar what he thought, because he's apparently got the amazing analysis going on there. Really good stuff. What he thought, and also what the rest of the panel thought, was the reason, other than just being like knocked off their heels a little bit, why Iran took so very long to respond.
You mean this time or last time?
This time, I was
Nah,
just
bro.
surprised. I mean,
It's a
you
super
would
fast.
think they were.
It's the
I
other way
mean, it looked
around.
like they were completely decapitated. You would think that they would have their missiles ready to go, and on like a moment's notice, like we're under attack, hit the button, and have all the targets already set out. Like that's kind of. I thought that was standard operating
I
procedure.
feel like it's the other way around. I think we were shocked how fast it was this time, but I was expecting a response after maybe 48 hours to basically weigh out the situation. Because remember, they didn't expect the attack to happen now. The reports are coming out that Donald Trump screwed them over and he actually made them think nothing was happening and they were ready for the meeting. That being said, like, you don't respond within minutes. So the fact that they've responded so heavily within 10, 15 hours, I think the first hits were about 15 hours in, is extremely fast in my opinion. But what do you think, Truth? Or
Yeah,
Doctor?
well, I don't. It was surprising that they responded like within 12 hours. But the second thing to consider is that it was also Trump that was misleading them into believing that a nuclear agreement could be possible and obtained because they had, a meeting set up for Sunday. But as it turns out, Trump was being deceptive and he'd actually collaborated with Israel to plot out the attacks, which is what took place. So they were actually caught off guard. So if you're wondering why they weren't just instantly prepared, but the other thing to consider is Iran's a big country, right? It's a size like Western Europe. There's 90 million people there. They can't all live in bunkers, and they have a. It's not just they have several scientists as they get struck, for instance, but they have schools of scientists. They have the nuclear energy programs and degrees that you can get there. So it's yes, they struck some of the senior ones, but there's many others. And again, I guess the ones that are in elevated positions are the main targets. But so like now they've lost their know-how and the intellectual property that they've obtained in the last couple of decades since they've established their nuclear energy program. But look, as far as timing goes, like compared to the other two, this was much faster, and they didn't wait on the UN to invoke Article 51 like they did after Damascus got struck. Right, that was done by Israel in and around April. It took well over a week before they responded that time, and then True Promise 2 took much longer. So this time was basically instantaneous, and you see that it was a pretty heavy response, the heaviest of the three, and they're not done. This is war actually. So they want to actually declare war before initiating what they've done so far.
But you know what,
Can I
Oscar?
Well,
weigh
I'm
in
just
on it?
saying.
Oh, sorry. I mean, the fact that they have pretty much the Da Vinci Code of the Iron Dome is a big deal. That means that, like, I guess the things that they previously, I don't know. It seems like it's a whole different game now if they're able to figure out how to, um, and I don't even know what the word is. I guess to prevent that from stopping these. And I guess if you could provide your take on that.
Well, they've been able to breach the deterrent that Israel thought it had with the 5-tier missile defense system it had. It's not just Iron Dome; it's also the Patriot system, THAAD, Arrowhead, David Sling,
Oh yeah, the
and
David
Iran was able
Sling,
to
that's
breach all
that
5.
laser one, right?
Yeah,
Because I remember I
I
went
mean they
I
have
mean,
a
I
over.
was just
separate
under
laser
the
system as
impression.
well.
I don't know. Just I was under the impression, even since the '80s, if Russia would launch on America, that we already have all of their bases and everything locked in, and it's like automatic launch. So I'm just surprised that
Can I?
once you realize you're under that level of attack, that you don't just have all the bases and everything already dialed out, and it's basically just like a dead man switch. You just go clink, launch. It's just weird to take that
Let me
much
weigh in on
beating
this for you.
in the hopes that you don't. Yeah, okay.
Thank you. So, I remember when this first happened, everybody was saying, why has Iran done nothing? Why? So what you're saying is actually accurate because in the beginning, everyone said exactly what you're saying. Why is Iran not reacting? Why is Iran not reacting? They should be prepared and react. So first of all, yes, they were prepared, but they also weren't because the US had led them into believing that there were still negotiations going on. So that was intentional by design to keep them even weaker than they were, meaning how they had weakened all around them, the supporting infrastructure of the surrounding countries, and also the internal one, which all of this has taken years to set up. But everybody was saying, how come they're not doing anything? How come they're not doing anything? How come they're not doing anything? And I was saying, they will, they will, they will. You just have to give them a minute because they're not being reactive, they're being responsive. And one of the things that they were able to achieve by being responsive versus reactive is A, to make better decisions, which you saw that they've been very targeted. B, to recover from whatever was going on. But also they were able to, did everybody forget how the US said, oh, we have nothing to do with this? Marco Rubio came out and said, we denounce this, blah, blah, blah. And then in short order, it came out as Netanyahu kept saying, yeah, we did everything with America. America knows what's going on. And then with that bit of time, that bit of quiet, the US being the US, of course, had to open its big mouth and give itself away and say, yeah, we've been part of this. And yeah, if anybody does anything, we're going to defend. And everybody got nervous. It's like when you get uncomfortable with the silence in the room. But Iran didn't blink. They know how to not blink and to get out what they wanted to get out while they were sorting themselves out. And in due time, they did exactly what they said they would do. They don't talk trash. Iran's not trash talking. A lot of these other places, they trash talk, they trash talk, they trash talk. But when Iran says something, they typically back it up. So they were saying in advance, we will be doing something, don't you worry. But they had to figure out exactly what was the best way to go forward and just how bad the damage was and how far they were infiltrated. Because Mossad was on the inside and they were feeding false intelligence. But it's not cut and dry. Everything isn't black and white. So it took a minute, and that's what they took. And they are not done, and neither is Israel, and neither is the US.
Fair enough. I wasn't really criticizing them. I was just
No,
wondering
I didn't
because
think
it's
that
like
at
at the
all.
very beginning. In the beginning, it kind of
You're absolutely
Israel's
right.
running around and everyone's like going around like, hey,
You're
we've
absolutely
decapitated them.
right.
We're absolute geniuses. We've taken out all of their command and control. It's over. They're done. It's just time
And
for the ground war.
one of
And
the
then
best
it was just
defenses,
strange.
is to let your enemy think that you're down. I mean, again, I will say the US is a very young country, Israel younger. Iran is thousands of years old. This is like in our DNA to be, take the long game and be strategic. How do you think they wrested themselves free from the United States and the UK in the first place?
I would just be, if someone's lopping off my arm and they're about to swing for my other arm, I would probably try to throw a punch while I still have an arm.
And yet
It's
they
just, you never
didn't.
know what the next punch was going to be. But
That's
anyway,
right.
they
It's
managed
calculated.
to pull it off. It's amazing.
I'm just talking about it's a matter of being strategic and calculated, not reactive. That's the answer. Yes, you're right. Most people would be like, "Oh, I'm ready. I'm just going to fire, fire, fire." But they just didn't go in there blindly. That's my short answer.
I jump in real quickly. So I don't know if one of you guys read this one already. So this is two Israeli officials claim to access that Trump and his aides. This is an official statement, so I'm just reading it. Trump and his aides were only pretending to oppose an Israeli attack in public and didn't express opposition in private. We had a clear U.S. green light, one claimed. The goal, they say, was to convince Iran that no attack was imminent and make sure Iranians on Israel's target list wouldn't move to new locations. It also says Netanyahu's aides even briefed Israeli reporters that Trump had tried to put the brakes on an Israeli strike in a call on Monday, when in reality, the call dealt with coordination ahead of the attack, Israeli officials now say. So basically, they're openly, officially, like just bragging and admitting to it. So why would
Just some off.
Iran want to even think about negotiating with the U.S. after that, knowing that as
Well,
well?
very early on, they
I
said
hear you.
that they weren't going to go back to the negotiating table. At first they said that we're trying diplomacy, but we're not going to wait for the UN, although they did file the formal complaint. And then after a little bit of time and enough time to make an assessment, exactly what you said, that they were a bit caught off guard, although they were a bit prepared. But since you are being betrayed left, right, and center, this is real games. They had to take time for assessment. And
Well,
so
not
to
only
see
that,
just,
doctor, you know what it is? They had to decide, are they ready to go to war now? I said this before, and I say it
oh, they
again.
knew they were going to war.
But they had
They
to
knew.
decide if this was the time, though, because, like I said,
No. This was the time. They didn't have a choice. Their hand was forced.
Just some more breaking news as well. The China China UN representative official statement. They said Beijing. This tweets in the nest. Beijing condemns Israel's violations of Iran's sovereignty, security, and territorial integrity. And Beijing urges Iran to immediately cease fire all dangerous military action. So that's Beijing obviously coming out very strong against the actions of Israel. Back to you, Ms.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Well, I just wanted to take advantage of the time that we have with Oscar here in terms of any of the weapons and weaponry. That stuff kind of flies over my head. I'm not very militarily inclined, if you will, but I'm sure we have people on the stage that could be able to better assess what he's saying in terms of understanding the fire dome, the whatever you call it, the whatever, all of the defense levels that Truth just brought up. But did you guys have any questions on any of the things that he said, or do you want to allow him to kind of, I guess, tell us the rest of the stuff that he knows? I was telling him in the DMs, I'm like, we're gonna have to break it up into pieces because people tend to, I guess not. When we're fire hosed, it's like boom, it kind of checks out. So, but did you guys have any questions on that stuff that he had said already from being within Gaza and reporting boots on the ground from over there? I see your hand is up, Jared. Is
Well,
that related?
look,
Go ahead.
I was just going to make the point that with respect to the Iron Dome and Patriot system, Iran had cracked this code last year, and in general, like if anyone reads through the manual of the Patriot system, none of these air defense systems are 100% effective. The key to breaching them is to swarm them with drones if you're willing to, expend that many. But then the other key is, the type of missile that can also breach it, and that would be the ballistic over the cruise, ideally, and the hypersonic can beat it every time. So, there's a method to the madness. Iran's cracked that code. They proved it for a third time now. It's been done before, but even in general, for those that hadn't figured it out, I believe the Patriot had also been beaten in Ukraine when it was used against Russia as well. They were able to breach it multiple times by swarming it with drones, because drones are cheap. I mean, once you learn to mass produce them, Iran knows how to do so does Russia. So, they can essentially then take out their targets and use an array of different drones. But yeah, no, beyond that, I don't know. Oscar, what else can you tell us with regard to your experience in Gaza? I mean, when were you there, first of all?
Yes, I was there, in the year after a month after October 7th. I was there, particularly in Gaza, and in Lebanon, I was last year. In the borders with Lebanon, in the part of Malkia, Jish, in the parts of kibbutz, in the parts of Israel. And to the point that everybody was talking about, yes, Iran has always, in the perception that we have always analyzed from that perspective, Iran has always been prepared. I think that it was a surprise attack on the Iranian country, and they waited because they strategically they were waiting for, a particular point to retaliate also, but they never thought that it was going to come as this early as possible. But as you mentioned, Truth Teller, that you're saying that this have happened before. They have cracked into the Iron Dome. I don't believe that this is the first time that they have been more effective into an attack with a ballistic missile into the area of Tel Aviv, as also they have cracked the Iron Dome in the part of Ukraine, attacking consistently also the part of Kiev. So, for the people that are in this space, thank you so much for the invitation. I believe that later on tonight there's going to be more attacks from Israel in terms to being extremely more aggressive with ballistic missiles, and Iran strategically is going to overwhelm the Iron Dome in specific areas to also attack strategically into central parts that it can brutally hurt Israel also.
Thank you
What
so
kind of
much.
drones are they actually using? Are they the small kind, or are we talking like missile type drones, or what kind of drones are they actually using to thwart the system? If you don't mind.
So Shahed 136, so that's the model. They've used suicide drones before too, but the low grade ones, not even the fancy ones. They've got like modified ones with like greater range, stealthier. They can carry bigger payloads as well. So they have a massive array. If you caught Max
Sorry,
Blumenthal's video that he put up when he was in Iran. Sorry.
sorry, just real quickly, we got reports of incoming missiles in Israel. It's not fully confirmed yet, but there's reports of more missiles coming.
Ah, more action. But yeah, they didn't really use that many drones as far as I'm aware. That today is mainly ballistic missiles and hypersonics. So that's what they figured out from True Promise One, is that ballistics were the most effective type of call it aerial object to use to be able to breach the various air defense systems and also strike targets, over drones and cruise missiles. So, and that's what they've essentially stuck with. Less waste that way.
And I mean, has anyone done the math? I know that Iran is supposed to have an incredible number of these missiles, but like, how long can they keep
Breaking
this
news,
up
we
for?
got reports of direct hits in the Galilee area.
Just some breaking news. Yeah, exactly. I was about to say something. The tweets in the list. Ballistic missiles target Israel. Continues alert in the Galilee region. So there is some ballistic missiles targeting Israel. I guess we're going to get some more fireworks.
It's a good question, Matt. So, I mean, Iran mass produces both missiles and drones, and they export them as well. They also make their own spy satellites as well, and they haven't given an exact number of what they have. Somewhere, someone said up to 90,000. It's more. It's much more than that. It's closer to 1 million. But again, they're not going to fully disclose that, and they can mass produce them anywhere, any time they want, in the various manufacturing facilities they have. It's deep underground. And they also have it stored outside of the country as well. You know, in places like Lebanon, they used to have it stored in Syria. Of course, Yemen's got a bunch too. So yeah, they're everywhere.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Truth Teller. Jared, I see your hand up, and then you dropped. I'm gonna come to you. What you got?
Hey, thanks guys so much for letting me come up and speak. And thanks, Suleiman and Khaleesi, for this wonderful space. And you too, Maze. Awesome job tonight. Um, so earlier this morning, it looked really bleak for Iran. And I heard Richard Spencer say on a space, well, it's too late for Iran to build a nuclear weapon. But, at this point, I think
Isn't he
Iran
still
has
friends with
no
Stephen
option.
Miller?
I'm sorry, what now?
Isn't he still friends with Stephen Miller? They went to school together back in the day.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. The
wow.
claim is that Richard Spencer taught him how to be like a better white nationalist, even though he's a Jew.
Ah,
So
that's
different
funny.
story though. Sorry, don't mean to distract
No,
you.
it's okay. So I think Iran at this point has absolutely no option but to build the bomb. I mean, Trump is completely dishonest. I think, maybe in Trump's heart, he wanted to do the right thing, but, he's hired all these Zionists around him. He took the path of least resistance. He's, Trump has really screwed things up here. But can Iran at this point build a nuclear weapon? What do you guys think? I mean, I don't see any way around it, but can they actually do it at this point? How long would it take? Because
All right. So
I don't
some
think
say less
America
than
can be
two
trusted.
weeks. Some
2
say
weeks?
less than 2 weeks, but pretty much immediately. I mean, they already have the nuclear fissile material. They've mastered the fuel cycle, and they've got all the components. And there's rumors they've tested one, or they might be testing one, in very soon. So it's really anytime they want. But with regard to how they operate, they have to. The supreme leader has to issue a fatwa to authorize it. It's almost like the Pope issuing a papal decree. Yes,
Does
nukes
he
are
have to make
legit
it
now.
public?
That's the way it usually works, but during time of war might be a different story. But again, I'm not,
I
privy
just
to.
don't. I mean, we have not given them any option. They have to do this. We are so dishonest. Not us, but our government is so dishonest. Look at what they did to Libya. Look what they did to Syria. There's no way around this. They have to build the bomb at this point. I don't see. I mean, do you guys think there's any way Iran can survive in the long run if they don't do this?
Well, that's a great question. I think it's also a difficult one to assess because it's like there would have to be a significant change within Israel's leadership, military, the structure, the dominance. Like there, that can't continue to exist for the sake of the world.
I
Honestly,
know,
it's very scary. So how that would come about? Hopefully, they can use this as an opportunity in a way to fix that because of course that's good. If without that, then they're always going to be a target. They're going to
but our
always be a
entire
target.
Congress is committed to no enrichment. And Trump tweeted last week, absolutely no enrichment. They set the bar so high, there's no way Iran can satisfy them.
Yeah,
So
I
they,
mean, it's unreasonable. It's absolutely unreasonable. So like they wanted them to move into what was it? Esson said it earlier. It was like, oh, medicine, food and medicine. And they're like, what? That's just
right.
pretty much neutering them. You
Yeah.
know? It's crazy.
But I
Yes,
also just wonder how Trump is going to recover from this. If Iran ends up kind of winning this, I hope they do, and ends up getting the bomb. How is Trump going to recover politically? He made his bed. Thank you.
Are you saying get the bomb or use the bomb?
No, I'm just saying Iran must build a bomb at this point to avoid the death of their nation. I don't see any way around it. We have proven that we're not going to give them any other option. It would be suicide not to build a bomb at this point.
Just real quickly, so we got reports of impacts in Haifa and the Golan Heights as well.
Thank you for that. I just brought up. How do I pronounce it? Avilios. Welcome to the stage, Avilios. You've been hanging in here for a minute. I saw you. Now that there's a little bit of space on the stage, I wanted to bring you up. And welcome back. Not the droid you're looking for. And so, guys, repost the space, please. Hit the purple pill on the bottom left and repost the space, quote post the space. We're covering everything that is happening in the Middle East with Iran firing back on Israel today, massive hits on Tel Aviv. As the news is coming in, we have everybody reporting on it and then commenting on it, and there's nowhere else you'd rather be. With that being said, make sure you're hitting notifications for Sully and Khaleesi, because should anything happen to this space, they're going to continue to fire it up and continue to cover this, so you will get notified. But with that being said, go ahead, Avalos.
Yeah, I just wanted to just two quick things. Somebody had a question earlier. No one really answered it. What Israel gets out of it, what Iran's looking to get out of it. Israel needs resources and territory to survive the next 50 years. If they don't get it, they'll stall out. So it's like they're just trying to get as much as they can and then hang on to it. Iran, they just need to buy time. If Israel doesn't finish this in 3 weeks, if the U.S. gets involved, that's different, right? Because oil and all that. But if Iran could buy time and not do anything crazy, like detonate a nuke over Israel, some crazy shit like a Russian nuke, they will win, because China will condemn it, Russia will condemn it, more countries will get on board, and at some point, U.S. has to make a decision. Do we say, all right, Israel, enough's enough? Because they haven't hit anything of value. I don't care how many bombs Israel throws over there. They're not getting through to the shit. It's all deep underground. Like, it's all they have to do is wait. So U.S. would have to get involved and put troops, because Israel doesn't have enough fucking troops, so they're screwed. So this whole thing's a stalemate right now unless something else happens.
But is that Netanyahu's gambit that Iran will do so much damage that America will be forced to go in and fight Iran?
Here's what'll happen. I predict you're going to see a warship or two get moved into position off the coast of Israel. Those warships, because the Iron Dome is screwed. Like, it cannot. I know the estimates for Iranian missiles is like, oh, they got 100,000. They've been building missiles for decades for this moment. They have more than enough. They could just keep lobbing missiles for months. Israel's Iron Dome needs to get resupplied.
Avilo, listen, bro. They said Hezbollah had about 100,000. If Iran's proxy had 100,000, quote unquote, how much do you think they're gonna have?
I understand that, but I know for a fact they have more than that. I know for a fact they have a lot more than that's being disclosed. And they could. Let me ask you this: can Israel survive 100,000 missiles at once? They can't. The Iron Dome's not that good. However, if the U.S. moves aircraft into position, think of it like a gunning position, right? Those turrets on those fucking aircraft carriers or those battleships, we can knock out every missile coming in towards Israel. But the problem is, until Israel feels like mutual destruction is possible, they're just going to keep going out of their way and attacking whoever they want, with the U.S. to hold them back. And it's like, we can't keep doing that. Like, it's not our war. We should walk away. Just stay back and observe, because we don't want it to get worse. But if we get involved, it can only get worse.
But the problem is our opposition is not saying anything about this. You don't hear the Democratic leaders criticizing Trump for this. They criticize him about deporting illegals, but not this bullshit.
Well, they need this war. If we're being honest, the bureaucratic society that runs the U.S. needs this war to happen. If this war doesn't happen, a lot of corruption and stuff's going to get rooted out. If they don't,
that's what worries me. I mean, how are we going to stop this? Because both party leadership supports this.
The only way to stop it is to demand Israel and Iran give up nuclear ambitions and remain in their territories. Because Israel, I don't care what anyone says,
Iran tried to do that.
99% confident
Iran
they have
actually
a nuke.
tried to do that in the deal with Trump. He told Trump.
I know, and that's what pisses me off, because that's so smart. Iran was like, great, we don't want nukes, but they can't have them either. We'll sign a deal. And that right there is why Israel attacked, because they're like, shit, he called our bluff. Because Iran, I don't know if it's It never like was official, but we offered a very good deal to Iran. They wanted nuclear power. So we were like, well, we will give you X amount of material for your reactor so you have clean energy. And they said, no, we want to refine our own. And we're like, okay, well, that's a no-go because not because it's Iran, who gives a fuck, but we don't want two things. We don't want a Cold War in the Middle East over nukes because if Iran gets them, everyone's going to want one. Second,
Did you forget there was already a nuclear agreement in place that Trump trashed in
I know.
2017?
Well, that deal that
Whose
Obama
fault?
made with
Whose fault was
Iran
that?
was that
Whose
deal
fault
with.
was that?
All right, hold on now. I was in the military when we made that deal. That deal was garbage, but I don't want to go
Why
down
was
that
it
road with the
garbage?
deal.
Iran was complying with it. The EU said they were. It was
Okay,
Trump that trashed it because they were
let me
looking to
ask you this.
expand. They were looking to expand the
Hold on,
agreement
hold on.
beyond just.
Calm down. I know about the deal. Calm
I'm
down.
I'm calm, bud.
But
It's the
I
U.S.
know,
that
but you're
breached the.
changing the
You're saying the
subject, and
agreement was trash.
I was trying to
Everybody
finish a
agreed
point.
to it. Do you realize everybody agreed to it? You can't just breach an
Anyways,
agreement. That's a violation. It was the U.S. that breached it illegally, and that's wrong. You can't just say it's trash and therefore you get to unilaterally breach it. It doesn't work that way. Okay,
okay.
that means the U.S. doesn't respect its agreement. So why the hell would Iran want to trust it again?
I mean, welcome to history. But my point
Yeah.
is,
Okay. So then, if it's all a big joke,
Iran needs to buy time. If Iran can stall and buy time, not do anything. I mean, if they could cripple Israel anti-weaponry, great. But if Iran could buy time long enough, China's pissed at the U.S. But they did just sign a deal, right, with Trump. But they want Taiwan. So if this gives them the advantage to attack Taiwan simultaneously,
you already have
like this,
Taiwan, and the U.S. already observes the one China policy.
yeah, it's just China still wants that island. They want a U.S. off of it.
For what?
I mean,
When you say biding time, what do you mean for
They
what?
already import whatever. Hold on, they already import whatever chips they want. They imported over $50 billion worth last year of chips from
yeah, they want the land. They
Taiwan
don't give a shit about
semiconductor
They
industry.
don't care about the chips. They want the land.
The U.S. cares about the chips, and then the land. You know, you
We're
realize
not.
China's the same landmass as the U.S. It's a massive country.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, Iran buying time means all they have to do is wait out Israel. Israel's not doing a dent. Israel's not doing a lot. Yeah, they killed a guy here, some scientists here, but like the technology, the infrastructure, it's still there. So if they can wait it out 6 months, a year, 2 years, they could just crank that shit back on and it's GG again. Like, that's my 2 cents. I just figured I'd try to share my background and hope that helps.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's not like there's any other way other than to respond to what Israel's done, and Iran's declared war now. So it's not about buying time. It's about incapacitating Israel, ideally permanently, so this won't happen again. Because the Jews have crossed the line. You know, they went too far this time. They shed blood. You know, they killed civilians. So
They were
they
killing
committed war
civilians in
crimes.
Gaza though, and no
Well, I
one's
know,
done
but no one
anything
seems
about
to
it.
care about that, right? No one seems to care about that, and the U.S. continues to provide arms and funding for it too.
What
And
I'm
Trump
saying
turns a
is the
blind eye to
reality
it.
is the U.S. doesn't care, and we're not gonna. I mean, we don't want the U.S. to get into Iran, but like, there's not a lot of paths forward.
It just blows my mind when I hear things like they don't want to get involved, but they provide arms, they provide funds, they provide military intelligence, they have helicopters, Apache helicopters approaching Iran's border. How are they not involved? They provided the intel, they knew about the operation, they were in on it the whole time. They're 100% complicit as a war criminal. I'm sorry, it's not even the first time. They also struck and killed a bunch of civilians in Yemen to do Israel's bidding. They also killed, Hajj Qasem Soleimani back in 2018, again to do Israel's bidding. They've consistently done Israel's bidding with all the wars in the Middle East. So I'm sorry, but there's notion that they don't want to get involved. They are involved. They're actively involved. And there's U.S. troops on the ground there. So come on, let's call a spade, right? Just an insult to people's intelligence when you act like, but the U.S. isn't complicit. Trump supposedly had a little tiff, a little lovers quarrel
I
with
never said
Netanyahu,
that.
and therefore,
I never said that.
I didn't say you said. This isn't about you, man. You're not that important, bud. No one cares. The point is, Trump pretended like he had a rift with Netanyahu. That was all bullshit. And the U.S. is also complicit in lying and being deceptive, claiming there could be a nuclear agreement to be reached on Sunday, 6 round of talks, when in fact there was a plan to bomb Iran the whole time. So why the hell would Iran ever trust the U.S. as a peace negotiator, as a nuclear deal mediator, when they're dishonorable and they're deceptive? It makes no sense, does it? So the U.S. has lost its high moral ground to negotiate any future agreements, perhaps with China, Russia, maybe someone else. But as far as U.S. mediating future deals, that ship has sailed.
Not only that, the next person's going to be in office pretty soon. So even if you do make a deal, and even if you do stick to it, the rest of the world looks at American politics and just goes, "Oh well, the next Democrat's going to get in, and they're just going to go backtrack it, or Republicans going to get in." So, I mean, honestly, the worst thing Trump could have done was to pretend to make a deal and then not. When he claims to be this big deal maker, it just totally pisses on the entire concept. But I think Homeboy was trying to say we, as in we, the American people, somehow thinking that the politicians care.
No, they
How
don't.
is Trump going to recover from this disaster?
It's like Trump was supposed to resolve Russia-Ukraine. That's escalated too. Just don't say he's a no-war, he's an anti-war president. That's an insult to my intelligence.
So does Trump get by with this because the Democrats don't care enough about this issue? Is that the bottom line?
Come on,
Is that how he gets
Jared.
away with it?
Democrats, Republicans, they're two sides of the same coin. They're beholden to
I
Israel either
know.
way. Okay, it's just what Trump doesn't like the LGBT stuff, and he's supposedly securing the border, and he's deported less illegals than even Obama or Biden did. So that's a bunch of crap too. There's still human trafficking going on. There's still narco trafficking going on. Nothing's changed. The powers that be still carry out their crimes across the border. So don't fool yourself.
Can I just jump in real quick? So I got an update. Apparently, right? So the Israeli government has told the public they can only release footage of interceptions. That's the only footage that it's allowed to be released to by the public. And so if they capture an interception
Pure
by
kosher theater. Just release the good stuff.
That's that Zio wood.
But guys, it seems like it's going to be quiet. So they are saying that the fourth wave has concluded for the time being. So we just have to wait for another launch to happen, or see what happens with Israel's response.
Could I just throw something out there as food for thought as far as Trump and all of this goes?
Yeah, go for it.
I was really thinking about some things said earlier, and really, if Trump let you down as far as all of this warfare goes, and if any aspect of this led you to feel let down by Trump, then that's perfectly understandable, assuming you trusted him before this. But if that's the case and you don't further kind of soul search a bit and ask yourself, what else, particularly with regards to upcoming bills and Palantir and all this stuff, if you somehow turn around and say, "Oh, but I trust that this bill is just big and beautiful and nobody's going to spy on us and that's all going to go wonderfully," I just encourage you to really reflect on that if anyone finds himself in that position, because that's sure seems to me
Yeah,
that's
not only that, a lot of people on the right wing will be like, yeah, well, we can get the people that are in the protests and this and that. But then just like the Patriot Act, then when the Democrats get in next time, they call everyone on the right wing terrorists again, then you're back in the same ratchet system where they open the gates to let the people in, then the right wing cracks down on it, then they up the ante with the police state, then they go back and forth, click clack, click clack, and then basically we all end up losing our rights as we go down the road.
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy situation. Saying also with the whole concept of the uniparty, I heard somebody say that well, this just proves that the uniparty is very real, and they got to Donald Trump, and that's one perspective. But I'd also encourage you to, if you find yourself thinking that, at least explore the thought that maybe nobody got to him. Maybe he just lied to you, to everyone. Maybe he's just been lying about all of it. It's not necessarily that complicated that he got, compromised by a uniparty that he didn't expect to
He's
be
not a
there and all that.
systematic thinker. Trump is not an ideologue. He's
It's
a
both.
Trumpist.
It's both. He's a hardcore Zionist, and that's what Zionists do.
No,
They lie.
he's a Trumpist.
It's that number one, and number two, what it's definitely AIPAC runs these politicians. It runs the genocidal entity, the government, and that's the truth. And it runs Donald Trump too.
And he doesn't want to be assassinated.
Well, he blew it if he did that, because he came out and said, if I get assassinated, we got to level Iran, which basically tells Israel, all you got to do is assassinate Trump, and then boom, you get your Iran nuking.
Exactly.
So
I'm so glad you brought that
Gold-
up because
golden
I think
point.
people forgot about that when he was. Oh, sorry, Sully.
Mace,
No,
did you
golden
see
point.
that? Did you see that Ryan Fournier
Oh,
tweet where he claimed that it was Iran that tried to assassinate Trump last year?
yeah, it's just dumbness. And another point, sorry guys, I'm kind of diverting and then I will bring it back to this point. But I got a tweet in the nest, and because it exposes what happened today and exposes the point, ironically, that we've been talking about and then Dan posted about, is about Israel using human shields. So one of the arguments we've made on the space is that Israel has their military bases, their headquarters, and various other key strategic buildings inside densely populated areas. What this video shows is that even their missile air defense system also is in a densely populated area, and you can see it being shot or shooting from a very densely populated area, and then actually a building in that specific area gets hit when that defense system is targeted. So it literally is what they accuse Hamas of, is what they're doing there in that video, exposes them. So that's why I wrote, what did I write? Footage shows, that's I wrote footage shoes. Israel using air defense systems in densely populated areas in Tel Aviv. The building in this densely populated area is then hit. So it just exposes the point that we were speaking about. So that's something we talk about. And also, Miz, you wanted to talk about that fake news about Iran trying to kill Trump.
Well, just the fact that that was okay. Netanyahu first said it. Okay, he was like, you know, if he was telling our Congress that they would be cowards and back, what did he call them? They don't have something along those lines. If they didn't go after Iran, should something happen to Trump. Now, Trump posted this on True Social. He actually posted, I don't know if it was a clip of him or if it was with the quotations around what he had said. And I thought that he was actually highlighting that as something that was suspicious, but in fact, later with his own words, what it was is him actually co-signing it, which was weird. That's why I agree with Mofit. Like, I don't know. It seems to me that there, why would he, I mean, unless that was a signaling and then but he was signing an executive order. This was natural, it was organic, it was not a scripted discussion. So like when he said that yeah, there would be hell to pay or some shit, to me, then that's what made me think like, wait, so when he posted that about Netanyahu, he was doing it in a way to co-sign, and I thought that that was weird.
That's when
Okay,
I
so
knew.
like,
Guys, I got a breaking
That's
news
when
for
I
you.
knew.
So we've got
Yeah, go ahead.
reports. Sorry, we got reports of another wave of Iranian missiles headed towards Israel.
Wow, yeah, that's massive, guys. Make sure to hit that repost button. That's massive. Sorry, Mace, you wanted to go ahead?
no, yeah, just interrupting time. Did you say ballistic missiles, Nathan? I just wanted to hear
Yeah,
the.
we also have
That's all they're using. So that's what works.
on the home alert app in Israel is going off. They're expecting imminent. Let's see. It says alerts expected imminently in Eliot, southern Negev, the Dead Sea, Lashish, western Negev, West Lashish, central Negev, Gaza envelope as well. I don't know why that's included, and then Arava.
Yeah, that's expected. You know, that's definitely expected.
has Israel had a decent response since they started getting pummeled, or what's exactly been happening
Yes,
with
they're
that? I kind of
actually
missed out
hitting
on that.
Iran now as we speak. Actually, sorry, I couldn't get. I should have gave you that one as well. They also hit in Sanjan, or they just recently hit Sanjan. The target is the Iranian Armor Brigade.
Because you would assume they're looking at where the missiles are coming from and then altering their positioning to then try and take out wherever the missiles are launching, or are they just coming from too many different areas to where there's no way
Well,
to really track it down.
there is like hundreds of sites, if not thousands, if I remember correctly. So it's even if they do target, say
Come
originally,
from Iraq. They've come from subs. They come from
yeah,
battleships. Some
and
from
also
Israel
Say that
itself.
originally
Some
in
from
the
everywhere.
first
Syria.
attack. Sorry, just real quickly, when Israel initiated the first attack, they didn't only just target assassinations or the nuclear facilities. They also targeted the silos as well to try to hinder an imminent response from Iran.
And also, there's reports that after Israel's failure to intercept the missiles, the American THAAD system was activated instead to counter the Iranian missiles because their own system failed.
And is that actually working right now, or still they're getting through?
Where did those Israelis go that said that they got the technology and they share it with America? More fake news exposed in real time.
This is another big attack, boys. If you look at the map of the attack, it's not as big as the last one, but it's going to be big.
Yeah, keep them
Like
guessing.
I mentioned earlier, though, they just have to keep volleying like thousands of missiles throughout the night.
That's what they're going to do because the Zionist entity doesn't understand any boundaries, and it's crossed a red line, that massive red line, with killing all those Iranians. I mean, hundreds of Iranians they bombed in those residential buildings. And so this, I think, is a lot more different than the times before, because now it's not just about Palestine. It's about what they just did. And Iran too. The Zionist entity has crossed many red lines. We spoke about the other things going on in America right now. It's because they're crossing too many red lines right now. And we're seeing them pay for it right now. And so the Zionist Uniparty that we were talking about earlier, the government, that got exposed as well. It's both Donald Trump, it's both his administration, it's both the one that came before it, Genocider Joe. It's all of them. It's all of them in the current Congress right now. They are a Zionist Uniparty, and we know that because when that bill came out to try to suppress our First Amendment rights on behalf of Israel, we saw how both parties equally agreed. Just like a typical uniparty would do, a little circus show. It's a clown show, and so unfortunately, what we're seeing right now is no, I wouldn't say unfortunately. I think this is a long time coming, and many would actually say fortunately, because everyone wants to stop seeing the kids being killed in Gaza, Palestine, and this is possibly the only way, because the ways of the you know you the UN and the ways of the international courts, as we've seen 2 years in, it hasn't worked. So I shouldn't say unfortunately, but this is the way that Iran has to stand up for itself, because this is what the genocidal Zionist entity will keep doing. It's still attacking Iran, it's still bombing Iran, and so we're seeing them retaliate. And I think this is a lot different, because we're actually seeing the genocidal entity now attacking Iran directly, residential buildings directly. So we're going to see, this is really just the beginning, in my opinion. We're going to see this continue to get even bigger.
Go ahead, Bill. Oh, sorry.
Real quick, the most
Yeah,
fit
guys.
is sorry. I was just
No,
gonna
go
ask,
ahead,
is
Bill.
Iran still a paper tiger, Solomon?
When did I say
That was a
that?
reference to Motaz, who was on here
Oh,
last
yeah,
night, saying
yeah,
they're a
yeah.
paper tiger. Really? 5 rounds of attacks now, huh?
Mortar's too busy.
Whoa.
Mortar's too busy attacking the protesters, the ones who want to get into Gaza right now. Let's bring up.
I just wanted to tell Nathan that his microphone was like spazzing out. I'm sorry. I don't know what that was. Maybe if you want to try it again, and then if it does it again, I'll reset you. Woo! Okay, stop.
Oh no.
Sorry, guys. I am so sorry. Let me recycle you, Nathan. I'm gonna bring you right back up. I don't know what that was, but it was very painful. We love you. Bringing you right back. There we go. Okay, sorry guys. Go ahead.
So major attack. Not major, but another big attack coming towards Tel Aviv right now. This is it's gonna hit soon, so we'll obviously be go full on mode reporting on that. But yeah, the ballistic missiles are heading towards Israel right now.
Well, we actually have reports that they've already hit.
Sorry?
We have reports that they've already hit central Tel Aviv.
They've already hit central Tel Aviv. Cool. I've not seen any videos yet, but yeah, definitely that makes sense because there's already time. Just want to welcome Craig Murray up, who is a
Sorry,
journalist.
let me just correct that. It doesn't actually say Tel Aviv. It says Palestine. Obviously, it means Israel. But I think the reason we're not going to get probably any pictures or video of the impacts because, like I said, the Israeli government has put a block on that. They have told them that they could only put up videos that show interceptions.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. So watch out for that. We're probably not going to get as much images, but the strike will be devastating, but we won't get as much images. Just wanted to go to. I was dropped anyway now. Cool.
Sorry, can I just add one last real quick thing? Another thing is when the strike started on Tel Aviv on Israel, uh, Israel actually initiated an operation in the West Bank as well. And I think it was because there was a lot of footage coming from the West Bank and a lot of celebrations. So because I noticed that it's not a lot of footage coming out of the West Bank either, because we had a lot of different angles that were being presented from the West Bank directly, and we saw people. Obviously, they were showing each other in the footage as well, and all that has kind of slowed down now.
I just brought Craig back up. It looked like he dropped. Craig, are you there? You gonna do a mic check? Craig? I don't know if you...
Craig Murray, are you there?
Do you know how to unmute?
Yeah, he's been on Spurs before. Right. Cool. If you've managed to unmute, then we'll get to Craig. But in the meantime, did you say, Nathan, that they have hit Tel Aviv?
Yes, there's reports that they've hit in a few places, not just in Tel Aviv, but a few different places. Also, I'm looking at some pictures here now, so it looks like they're allowed to post pictures, but not videos. And it's hard to tell, but it looks like something's been hit. I'll send it to you and let you check it for yourself.
Solomon, I'm confused. I thought Israel's a democracy. They're not allowed to post videos? What's going on here? All these restrictions in Israel. What about that freedom?
They have too much freedom. Too much freedom. They've demonstrated in the United States of America. Craig, you all right?
I heard the homosexuals are very sad because they couldn't attend the bars and the orgies they were at, and they had to go to the bunkers. But they're having a party there, I guess. They moved the party over. The after party's in the bunker.
Is it Pride Month in Israel too right now?
Of course, they invented that stuff.
Okay. Nathan, did you
I'm
send me
here now,
the?
Solomon, if you can hear me.
Yes. Can
Have a look. Have a look
One-
now, Sully.
I'm gonna check it. Craig, thanks for joining us. You just come at the worst time in the sense of we do think that there's a strike on Tel Aviv right now, another one. But I appreciate you joining us. Craig is a journalist. I know he was in Lebanon reporting what's happened, and I believe, if I remember right, you were also an ambassador, a British ambassador. Thanks for joining us. How are you?
We can't hear you, Craig.
Yeah, no, sorry, it was breaking up there. I don't know why. I'm in a hotel in New York.
It went out again, Craig. But we heard you a little bit. I don't know, I guess we can try again. I guess really quickly, I'll sneak this in. But China calls for Israel to immediately seize all dangerous military actions. I don't know if you guys discussed that yet or not. But shout out to Last Man on Earth, who's tagging me in these.
Yeah, we did mention that. So I've got some targets here, locations. So we've got reports of explosions in Tel Aviv, and then also a lot of explosions were heard in southern Israel as well. And then you also have siren sound in Jerusalem, Beersheba, and then the Negev, and also the Galilee.
Yeah, we're getting reports right now. There's images Nathan sent me as well, and I've checked it a couple other places. Iran has hit Israel. We are starting to get images. They are trying to minimize the level of footage that comes out, but yeah, Iran has hit Israel again.
I think this is the war that's gonna break Israel's
Bro,
back.
sorry, I gotta give you this one. So there's a report coming in. They're saying that this explosion was so strong that it's shaking all areas of occupied Palestine. This is what it states from how it's posted.
Did Benjamin Netanyahu not think this was going to happen?
He fled. He left.
Dude, he's at a bathhouse in
fled to
Greece having
fucking
fun with his
Italy
bum
or
buddies.
something.
He took off. He
No,
doesn't care. He'll be
seriously,
hanging out
dude.
with Yair soon in
No,
Miami.
he seriously left.
I
He
know,
left like a
but
day
do you
ago.
He's
guys
south of
think
Greece.
Crazy.
completely misjudged Iran's ability to fight back?
Like I said, I don't think that they actually knew how many warheads they had, because Iran can keep this up
Okay,
for
guys,
a minute.
we're hearing there's a huge explosion in Tel Aviv. We're also hearing, I'm going to tweet the other one, but there's a huge explosion in southern Israel. This is huge. This is bigger than we thought, actually. Israel's getting pummeled again.
Burn, baby, burn.
You guys remember the movie The Kingdoms of Heaven, where it's like, I'll break your army here? I kind of feel like this is that scene.
That's about the Crusades?
Yeah, where like the army's done. Like, this is the last fight. I think this is Israel's last real fight after this. I don't think that they're going to recover
Open up
very
the
much from
airport
this.
so they can leave. Just don't come to Georgia.
Why just Georgia? You know what I'm saying? Leaving the rest of the
They
United
got to go
States wide open?
somewhere.
That's crazy.
We got Antarctica open.
Madagascar.
Right, okay.
Antarctica's open.
Okay, we're also hearing major explosion in southern Israel as well. Me and Nathan continue to check, guys. If you do get anything, send it across to me. Because it's late in the night, there's less people reporting on this.
I just sent you something to check out.
I appreciate
the video showing a few impacts, or
appreciate
looks
it,
like
brother.
they cut through.
I thought I'm gonna sit back and let Maze run the space, but yeah, huge explosion, massive attack. Israel is attacking.
I got another breaking news. Sorry to
Go for
interrupt
it.
you.
No,
So
go for it. Go for it.
we got reports of casualties in the city of Rishon LeZion.
Thank you, Nathan. Oh, we lost him. I was gonna go back.
And Nathan, if you can send me that, that'd be in the location. That'd be golden. Right, let me just post those.
Yeah, we lost Craig again. I'll send him another invite up just in case. I know he's in a hotel, he said. But yeah, guys, repost the space, hit the little purple pill. Make sure you're reposting, quote post. And if you've already done that, do it again. This is the best place to get all coverage as it comes in for what's going on in the Middle East. And make sure that you're following Solomon and Khaleesi and anybody else on the panel, but definitely have your notifications on for Sully and Khaleesi, because in case this one closes for any reason or crashes, then you'll get notified when we reopen. But with that being said, you know, I can't help but like really wonder if this is some sort of crazy like response that they just weren't prepared for, or if they were baiting Iran, because you just never know. But I'm just gonna stay optimistic and be like, maybe they just really didn't expect this backlash. And either way, though, that's still putting their people at risk if it was the first mission. But Craig's back up here. Hi, Craig.
Both. Maze, it's both. I think they expect the U.S. to defend them. That was number one. And number two, I think it's the political leaders such as Netanyahu, Milikowski, and his administration. They believe that if they continue going through with this, that they won't be pressed on their positions of power and, ultimately be kicked out by even their own people.
Yeah, I agree. Craig, you want to do a mic check?
Yep. Can you hear me now? I'm having
Yes, sir.
strange internet problems. Been watching movies tonight, no problem at all. But as soon as I try and come on here, the internet's not working in the hotel. I'm having a thought, really, from my experience being in Lebanon for 6 months earlier this year, which is that I hope that Iran doesn't make the same mistake that was really made in southern Lebanon, where over a long period, Israel was able to bomb and bomb and bomb and degrade the available effective resistance against Israel became impossible. Has the ability to do that in Iran. Iran has no really effective air defenses or insufficient air defenses against Israel. So I'm hoping they've learned the lesson and that they're going to use their missiles now before they lose them, and not allow this to become a long attritional war in which Israel's ability to strike into Iran.
Did we
I
lose
think,
him or was it
yeah,
just?
we lost him again.
Oh,
So
we lost him
I've got
again.
I've got an update down real quickly. There's reports of another wave of missiles being launched towards Israel, and this was like within the last 5 to 10 minutes.
Wow. I guess this is payday. It's crazy.
No, Mace, it's all orchestrated. Simon said so.
Oh,
Well,
be
I can't
nice
help
to
but think
Simon.
that we won't really
Sorry, just an
know
update on that,
until
just really
tomorrow.
quickly. I'm really sorry to interrupt you. So, Iranian military sources are quoted as saying this is going to be the largest missile attack yet. This next one.
Wow, this hasn't even started. Then, guys, hit that repost button. It's about to be a long and lit night.
Burn that mother down.
I mean, just keep in mind, Trump is just so coincidentally having his giant military parade tomorrow, and maybe he doesn't want to move yet to rile up the rioters, and then he gets his parade, and then he basically declares war tomorrow. I think until tomorrow we don't really know how this is going to shake up, but yeah.
Well, sadly, if Israel is really
Or there's a
destroyed,
false flag tomorrow, third so-called assassination attempt on Trump. Watch.
sadly, if Israel is destroyed by Iran, you know the Congress will pass a bill to pay for it all.
Yeah, or they bomb the area that Trump's doing the parade and take out the protesters and the patriots at the same time, galvanizing people, which would be the ultimate maneuver.
What time does all that start?
Right, guys. Oh, sorry, Mace. What was your question?
Well, I was just asking if Matt knew what time all that's supposed to kick off tomorrow. The military parade and the I don't know. They have these protests. There's this one site that shows like
Just some
1,650
breaking
cars.
news.
I remember it
Quick
was
alert.
late.
So
I
the-
remember it was late. It was like 5 East Coast or something like that. Everyone was saying it was very late in the evening to be doing it.
Just some breaking news, guys. Israel is bombing. Iran is bombing Israel significantly. I put a tweet in the nest. They're saying that the explosion is so loud that it's being heard in southern Lebanon. Such is the level of explosion. So Israel is being plummeted. Also, what Nathan said is completely accurate. There is a second wave, and I don't know how to write this in a tweet because people are going to just think, oh, this is that wave. But basically, there's a second wave just a few minutes apart that is coming that apparently is bigger than any assault that's happened all day today. So this is going to be huge.
Also, I got another one. Yemen is launching projectiles as well at the same time.
Sorry, I was trying to get my notifications on for this other.
Also, just real quickly, sorry,
Yeah,
May,
no,
just
you're
quickly.
fine.
So, this is being quoted from an Israeli radio. Says explosions heard in wide areas of Israel, some for the first time in the north, center, and south of the country. And then they're saying that also this is from Israeli radio again. Rockets have fallen in the greater Tel Aviv area. And then also another one, sorry, just real quickly. Massive destruction after a rocket directly hits a building in Rishon LeZion, south of Tel Aviv. And if I remember correctly, if I just seen a report not long ago that said that that building had actually collapsed as well. And then there's also footage coming out as well showing this. Well, it's not showing the hits, but it's showing the missiles basically breaching the defense systems.
Thank you, Nathan. I appreciate you. Sorry, I was trying to set some notifications on this phone. Go ahead.
So a second, as mentioned, just repeating, that point, and then also what Nathan said. So the first one is that there's a new second wave of missiles, minutes apart from the previous one, and they are going to be the biggest yet. So what we're talking about right now is the first wave of the current moment, So I don't want to call it because the fourth or fifth wave total, but the first wave of the current moment is what we're talking about. These explosions that have been heard in Lebanon. They're so big they've hit Tel Aviv, as Nathan said. We're also hearing that, which I'm going to post next, is that these explosions had wide areas of Israel, some for the first time in the north, south, center, and south of the country. So that is the first wave, but there is an expected second wave that is going to be what, like 5-10 minutes apart. That's meant to be the biggest wave of missile attacks we've had today. And remember how big the previous ones were. So this is huge.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah, just real quickly, Sally, I'm going to
No,
send
go
you a
ahead.
video. You can see the defenses are definitely being breached again. You can clearly see it.
Thank you, Nathan.
Where is
Somebody-
Mitch? I'd love to hear from Mitch at this point.
To be honest,
Hiding in his
I'd love to hear
bunker.
from
The
the
Wi-Fi's not
president.
very
You know what
good.
I'm saying? We haven't. Has he even made a comment yet outside of his little Truth Social things? I'm curious to know what. I mean, he should be addressing the nation. You would think. Maybe they don't know their next play yet.
Doing what he's told to do by Israel.
Probably there's no
Yeah,
reception in the bunker.
That tweet's in the nest right now, so I'm just checking the other one. But yeah, this is it. Just Miz, if you want to read it out for me, the tweet's in the nest.
Sure. Okay. So breaking explosions heard in wide areas of Israel, some for the first time in the north, center, and south of the country. Missiles have fallen in the greater Tel Aviv area. Yeah, that's from Israeli radio. And guys, make sure that you are going to the nest and you are sharing this information. This is how they have been able to change the hearts and minds of millions to understand what's really going on. So do your part. Yep, go ahead.
Sorry, do you mind if I jump in real quickly with an update? So CNN reports that the Israeli ambassador to the U.S. says that Israel is in war with the Iranian regime.
Wow, I
Be
got a
careful
crazy
what you
video I'm
wish
gonna
for.
send you, Sully. Sorry, go ahead. Were you talking, Nathan? Sorry.
No, but I will add something. So there's a report saying that this next wave, the last one we mentioned, should be arriving within 1 to 2 minutes, and this is probably within the last 30 seconds.
So a political analyst, Ali Al-Shafari, told Iran International Israeli attacks are aggressive and go beyond the Islamic Republic. The goal is to undermine Iran's defense structure and the country's strategic position. Iran's independence should not be sacrificed to hatred of the Islamic Republic. The hell? That's interesting. You know,
And guys, that tweet that tweet's in the nest. You can see a video of Iranian missile breaching and hitting Israel. That's one video that we've got out. Obviously, they've got an embargo on it, but a few videos are coming out.
Bro, I
Big
got
hits
another
on
one
Israel.
from you. This one is fucking ruthless. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'll send you this one. This one is even bigger than that last one.
bro, you can't just leave us hanging out here like that. You know what I mean? Okay, I guess, well, you could just say it's unconfirmed, but tell us. All right, fine.
No, not a wave.
Huge
Sorry, let
attacks
me
on
clarify.
Israel right now.
Sorry, just let me clarify. Not another wave. I'm talking about another video showing the defense clearly being breached, and you can clearly see a target being hit and a massive explosion.
So it looks like USS Thomas Hunter is heading to Eastern Mediterranean. I guess that's a ship, a Navy ship. So U.S. Navy moves to shield Israel. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's actually an old, because I don't know if you saw that. I sent you the publication to that as well. Because Trump actually, that was mentioned a few days ago, if I remember, or either yesterday or the day before, that was actually mentioned. Because if I remember correctly, he started moving them before Israel started attacking. It was to apply the pressure, obviously, for the negotiations beforehand. Because remember, Israel kept threatening days leading up to, obviously, the first attack yesterday.
At least 3 impacts have been reported in northern Israel.
Just the what you call it again? Yeah, the new wave of missiles have hit Israel. I put the tweet in the nest. The same video you sent, Nathan. The tweet, not the tweet. The missile has hit Israel. Remember, this is the first wave of the two waves that are going to be hitting now. The second wave is expected to be much, much bigger, significant, brutal, because they say it's much worse than even the first wave. So this is going to be significant. Let's see what happens. It's going to be huge.
Just real quickly, update. So we've got reports of casualties in the latest bombing on the center in Tel Aviv, and it says forces trapped in a building in the center of the country with numerous units en route to the location.
Thank you for that.
For everybody tuned in right now, do us a huge favor. For everyone tuned in right now, if you are enjoying the space, which all 7,000 of you are, because you've all been tuned in for 24 hours plus. So do us a big favor. If you support this real news, this live breaking emergency alert news, hit that repost button by pressing that bottom purple pill, that purple oval looking shape button at the bottom right of your screen, and then hitting that. After you hit that, you're going to see on your screen the arrow up, arrow down. You hit that arrow, then you press repost, and help us get to 3,000 reposts so that we could continue breaking this emergency news live as it continues. It seems that this is going to be an all weekend kind of thing. So tune in, because this is live breaking news, emergency alert.
Sully, I just checked. Sorry, I just sent you something to check. It's about casualties. Obviously, I don't want to say it, so I thought I'd let you double check it first.
Appreciate it, Nathan. Yeah, I will double check it. Thank you. Let's see.
So I got an interesting message about if
There's missing people, apparently. Sorry to interrupt real quick. So significant damage to 4 buildings in Rishon LeZion. This is Hebrew sources, by the way, south of Tel Aviv, or occupied Jaffa. And occupation rescue and emergency teams are searching for missing people among the rubble. Wow, there's karma retribution right there. They're looking for their own under the rubble. Let them know how it feels.
And that tweet is in the nest. You can see massive. What was it again? The tweets in the nest. You can see the fourth wave of the Iranian attack, the barrage that's coming from the sky. Remember, the second part of this fourth wave is going to be much more bigger, much more huge. So just watch out for that. But this is what it is. Let me just double check this for the extra news.
Yep, go ahead and double check that. Sean, welcome to the stage. Did you want to chime in on anything? You didn't expect me to call on you so immediately, but feel free to chime in.
Yeah, I definitely did. I was just in the middle of something, but yeah, I was a little bit late to the conversation, but looks like a pretty glorious day, I think. What is the maybe I should have read the room a little better, but it's about time Israel got a taste of its own medicine, I think.
Indeed. Thank you, Sean. I see Nathan's hand went up really quickly. Let's tap in with him. What you got, Nathan?
All right, so a U.S. official has been quoted as saying, sorry, let me just get it up. A U.S. official to Al Jazeera, we estimate the confrontation between Israel and Iran could last a full week. And then also there's another report that says reports of injuries and damage to homes in central Israel after the latest missile barrage. Emergency services are responding.
Okay, just a quick question. Actually, now that I've been called,
There's sorry about that, Sean. I'll give it straight back to you.
go ahead.
There's a report of 9 Israeli casualties in the latest Tel Aviv bombing by Iran. So there's 9 casualties right now from the latest bombing. So that's happening right now. So the bombing's huge. Like, we're not getting videos because they're basically arresting the citizens if they report on it. But yeah, this is huge.
Go ahead, Sean.
Sorry, just quickly, the report in Yemen, reports indicate Yemen's entry into the confrontation line. So it looks like Israel is joining the fight, and it looks like it's about to get real, folks.
Sorry, what did you say about Yemen?
So basically, it looks like Yemen's gonna jump into the fight with Iran. So we're probably gonna see more action coming
Have
from
they launched?
Yemen. I believe there was supposed to be a launch about 20 minutes ago, but it hasn't been confirmed yet. But there's a statement coming out or reports stating that it looks like they're gonna join the fight.
That's why Israel doesn't want these videos getting out, because they don't want other people seeing that they're vulnerable.
Oh my god. I'm gonna post this video. It is a mental bombing.
Sorry, I was locked into the DMs for a second.
Do you mind if I give a quick statement? Sorry, Maze, I'm really sorry. So, Israeli Channel 14, one of the correspondents is quoted as saying, "There is no doubt that Iran has recovered from the opening strike it received last night. It was clear that they would recover at some point and begin launching missiles in large numbers."
Yeah, it's funny. I actually asked Grok that last night, and Grok's like, "Oh no, they've got plenty of capability. They'll still be able to launch missiles."
Yeah.
Okay, I was just kind of curious. I mean, maybe I asked this question like a couple of seconds too early because apparently this next wave is on its way. But does it appear to you guys that they're using their missiles as if this is going to be a long drawn out war? Because in my opinion, at least, they should just go for broke. I mean,
Nah,
the
it's the war of attrition is the best
they
option.
don't.
Make them suffer in bunkers. Let them run out of food and supplies. Let them come begging, and then still say no.
Just some more breaking news.
But
Sorry, just some more breaking news. And I'm gonna give it straight back to you guys. So the discussion is important in between giving the news. The first video of the Iranian missile bombing that took place in southern Tel Aviv is out now. That tweet is in the nest. Devastation. Look at it. It is mad.
Oh, there it is.
don't you think though? I think it was Truth that jumped in there. Don't you think it would just be beneficial for the whole region if Iran just obliterated them right off the bat?
Yo.
I mean, like instead of making them
Yeah,
suffer
Allah
in
Yom
their
Shabbat.
sewers, like the rats that they are, like just bomb them to smithereens. Like the longer they wait, the more American troops are going to be there, the more NATO troops, whatever this is going to turn into. Like they have the capabilities to just turn Israel to a parking lot, like they wanted to do to Gaza.
Do you think
And
logistically there's a limit to how many they can actually launch physically at a time, though?
I'm sure there is, of course, to a certain degree, but I mean, they also are probably not using their highest capacity munitions, though, right? Is that safe to assume as well?
That's what I was gonna ask. Truth.
Yeah, it
If you
is. They
know.
always use the old stuff first. They get to the new stuff later. So that's what they did in True Promise 1, and True Promise 2 is the newer stuff. True Promise 3 has some new stuff. But yeah, they're always going to get rid of what's sitting around, call it layaway or in storage. Let's get rid of the bad stuff first. So no, they're not even using their best stuff yet. But no, spread it out. Keep them in suspense. Keep them suffering. Keep them guessing. Level the infrastructure, but let them live in bunkers. Things when you say stuff like level Israel, there's Palestinians living there. Nobody wants that. So, and you think they're like creating bunkers or special, these special secured areas, locations for Palestinians too? I don't know.
Some more breaking news. Where's it gone? The tweet in the nest. Oh, flip. Let me just redo it.
Okay, well, while he's doing that, go ahead, Truth.
By the way, before Truth
No,
jumps in,
I made up with
Solomon,
like going for broke leaves you vulnerable too. So
just real
it's
quickly, Truth, sorry,
don't forget
Solomon, check
you.
your messages.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Nathan.
Oh, could you not hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Right, Solomon, check your messages.
Yeah, of course I will, bro. Thank you.
Go ahead, Truth.
I was gonna say the war of attrition is a better way to go because Israel's already outstretched, especially if Hezbollah decides to reemerge and take back their 11 occupied villages, and Israel can take care of their business too. And who knows? Maybe there's hope for Syria. It's still a long shot, but no, let them incapacitate Israel, and then maybe even a ground invasion. I don't know. That's pie in the sky at this point. But
Yeah. So the tweets in the nest, major devastation. One second. A major devastation. I'll leave it to Miz. Miz, can you just read that tweet out? I'm just going to look at the next one.
Yep, I'm waiting for it to pop up. Maybe I can find it on your page quicker. Major devastation in Tel Aviv after latest Iranian missile attack. Wow, that is crazy.
Yeah, apparently like almost a whole neighborhood was taken out.
Also, we got reports of power outages as well.
Well, I thought I was looking at Gaza there for a minute.
It does look like Gaza. Did you have something else, Nathan?
Sorry, could you not hear me just now?
No.
There's reports of power outages as well in Israel.
Okay. Thank you for that. Go ahead, Abby.
I was just gonna say it's kind of like watching two people fight, right? They're gonna pull punches, but Israel is the one that's gonna tire out before Iran, and it's not funny, but it's just they underestimated just how they overestimated their Iron Dome. Is all I wanted to put in there.
They're counting on America joining the war effort. They're going to be using the sympathy card and a guilt trip to try to lure
100%.
America into war.
Which is why we're seeing all of the dispatched traitors, who are all congressmen and senators, literally show their allegiance. They're like, do it now. They dispatch them just so they can start getting and shaping the public sentiment and opinion around it. And in addition to that, just in case, what I think is potential and a serious one is a false flag, and they're going to blame it on Iran. And the crazy thing is everybody knows this. Everybody already knows that they're going to be doing some crazy false flag and blaming Iran. And, you know, it's how do we even prevent them from doing some crazy rogue shit? I hope that that doesn't happen, but if it does, I hope that people literally go to jail this time for that. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
The craziest thing is that most people, at least in my community, they don't know that it would be a false flag, and that's what worries me the most. I think it is going to come, but I don't think the vast majority of people will understand what's happening, and I think they might get gung-ho to go fight for Israel. The same people that got the vaccine will be the same people that will fall for this as well, I think, which is terrifying.
Dang, Sully, you're beating the Iran Observer. You know what I'm saying? They're like minutes behind you. That's where I was getting my news from. And I was saying to you
Hey,
that you're ahead of them.
Mays or
Yeah, what's up?
Solomon?
Go ahead.
Just before you go, Velos, I put this up in the nest. You can see a few weeks ago, Joseph Neumeyer did try to actually bomb an American embassy in Tel Aviv. Yeah, he's a Jew. He had Molotov cocktails in his bag. He got caught. So that would have been a false flag attempt. Of course, they don't talk about it. He's facing 20 years in prison. He'll probably get off on a technicality, claim insanity. Who knows? You know, the Jews inherit that stuff anyway, so they'll call it a genetic defect. But anyway, just wanted to point that out that they've already tried false flags and then they got caught. Okay, and this happened in Tel Aviv. They were going to they would likely blame Palestinians for that.
Just a heads up, Maze. Oh shit.
What's that?
This is mental. Apparently, the photo that I had before, it's basically an entire block's almost been taken out. At least 6 buildings have been taken out. It's a significant amount of devastation in Tel Aviv.
Just a heads up.
I know that.
I tagged Scott Jennings from CNN. I hope that's okay. He might jump in here. He just woke up, but since they can't video, he might jump in here and talk. So just keep an eye out for him.
Why don't you tag Clarissa Ward? I've got a few questions for her.
Uh-oh.
They've even stopped CNN from releasing video.
I don't know. He just woke up.
Does anybody know how long they can actually run the dome for? Like, how do they retool the missiles, and how does that actually work? Like,
the
physically?
problem isn't the problem isn't the ammo. They have ammo. The problem is they have to fix the barrels. The barrels heat up too fast. So like continual barrage, like if Iran gives them a whole day break, they'll refix all the arrow, they'll refix everything, and then the Iron Dome will be up and running. But like if they keep hitting them every like 6 hours or every 3 hours, that thing's not going to hold.
So it makes sense to hit them with the lower kiloton in the beginning, and then wait to drop the big ones.
They use all the old stuff first. Like that's why Iran's freaking out, because they haven't got to the good stuff yet.
It's like y'all want to all talk at the same time and then go on break at the same exact time, and then by the time I come back from my message, you know what I'm saying?
Real quickly, Sullivan, are you there?
Yeah, brother, I am.
I sent you something to check out. I didn't want to say it. I'll let you check it out, and then you can say.
So, just a quick heads up. I studied Iran and Israel for 4 years when I was in the military. So, if you have questions, feel free to ask. I'll do my best to answer. But like this was back in like 2011. So this has been on the books for a minute.
I agree. I was talking about that book that was written that talked about literally the preemptive nuclear strategy for specifically Iran. And that was absolutely mind blowing how it's all materialized. It's, you know, same as those other visionary PNAC, all of that stuff.
What scares me, Maze? Here's what scares me. Remember, I was in it, right? I was in the shit. I saw this stuff. What scares me is what happens after in 10 years. Because let's say shit gets bad, Iran loses, we end up doing another Iraq. Who knows? But like, where does that put us in 10 years? That's what scares me.
Well, hopefully there are some miscalculations, which, you know, I think that that's one of the things that may have happened this time. They didn't expect, perhaps, maybe they thought that they would come to the table for negotiations after they'd already hit the nuclear reactors. They were like, okay, well, now we could probably get them, but maybe they didn't anticipate this. I do believe that there's wild cards and divine interventions and just weird things that might completely throw off what they planned, and that could be maybe a fatal mistake. We'll see. I mean, we will see. I also, Tavana, welcome to the stage. I also brought you up. Did you want to chime in on anything?
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So I think you guys were patient enough to see what's happening and what's happening now as well. So we're not going to stop. We're going to continue. They started, we were saying it, truth is here. I'm happy to see truth here. And we told them that we are peaceful, but if you start, we will finish. So they're going to watch these 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 batches of missiles are coming. We have plenty of them. And we have made ourselves ready for 10 years war. So at least 10 years war. And we don't care if the United States, if the whole world wants to start. Already North Korea officially, Pakistan jets are on the top of Iran right now.
Some more breaking news. There is more video in the net of the direct missile attack on Tel Aviv. There's another video.
Yeah, no, they will reach it, because I sent a message 2 hours ago and it was said that this time is, and now we are getting news that their electricity is cut off. We have their fuels in our hand because it is hijacked. So, and the most high rank commanders, Navy commanders gone, chief of staff gone. Security of them is gone, not confirmed, but some of those commanders are gone. So, and we're looking for Satan Yahoo right now. So they are saying that he's in Israel. Is not. We know where is he, and we're looking for him.
He's in Greece,
So,
though, isn't he?
yeah, he's in Greece. We know he's in Greece, and we know when he landed in Greece, and we're searching for him. So they're sending false flags that he's in Israel, but we know that he is not over there.
Wait. You said Iran
And
sent a hit squad to Greece after Netanyahu. Is that for real?
no, that one is a false flag. We don't hit in another countries unless they intervene. And so far, there are some countries that they are betraying us, but not direct intervention. So far, we haven't seen it. So, for the sake of two things to know that
So just
we have
defeating the
plenty
nest, you
of.
can see Israelis escaping a damaged building right now. So that's happening. Severe, significant attacks. We're also getting sirens for the next attack that's happening. And this
It's 2000. It's 2000, Suleiman. The numbers are 2000 this time.
2000 what?
Yeah. Yeah. This time is 2000.
2000
So
what?
that's why I
2000 what?
posted. Yeah.
2000.
And it's going to be increased. 2000 missiles, Khaybar missiles. And the explanation of these missiles are very special missiles, and they're so destructive and they're so fast going that they cannot track it. So we're not gonna let them sleep because they betrayed us. We have the documents right now, and in those attacks that you see is they're doing it inside Iran. From inside Iran, we have arrested most of them, and we are keep continuing arresting them. They're doing the same thing that they were doing in Russia. So their fighters, if they dare now come to our sky, because the air defense is back and everybody is ready. And thank you to Pakistan. So that's the result of, I don't know, do you remember my Bunyan and Marsus? This is the next Bunyan and Marsus for them. So North Korea is with us right now. Russia refused to intervene because Netanyahu called Russia, and he refused officially that I blame you on that. So we don't care about the other guys that they're saying that United States and West, we don't care. We know they are the same because we have the documents of their betrayal to us and killing and assassinating previous scientists. We knew that it is leaking from UN, but now we have the proof. So we don't care about UN. I call it UN from now on. It's not UN anymore. So
Right, some more breaking.
if they
Appreciate
want,
it, Tavana. Thank you so much for that. Some more breaking news. There are sirens. Let me just flip and get it up. There you go. Emergency sirens are heard in Tel Aviv and dozens of other locations in southern and northern Lebanon after the fifth Iranian missile launch. Also, I haven't had a chance to tweet this, so if I do forget to, someone remind me. But there are reports. Where's it gone? Here it goes. There are reports of unusual activity across the Lebanon border. There's forces apparently building up, which has been observed in the Bekaa Valley. Precautionary measures are being taken, but there are concerns that Hezbollah is having movement across there as well. I mean, that's gold, and this is what this is what I think it needs to happen. It needs to be multiple fronts. So that is happening. I'm gonna obviously someone remind me to tweet that out because I'm probably not gonna remember. There's also okay, I'm gonna tweet this out, but yeah, extensive damage in the Rishon LeZion area of south of Tel Aviv, where there are 14 casualties. So that is the latest news. Major hit on Israel. Guys, I know people want to give their little commentary or whatever, it's all good, but I think right now people are here for the latest news. So if we can focus on the latest and breaking news and let everybody know what's going on, and then once that calms down, and then we can go back to it. I feel like people kind of I think a lot of people joined the space for that, and then people kind of left when that wasn't happening. So I'm just gonna get this information out, but yeah, that is the latest news. Nathan, have you got anything else from your side?
I've got something for you, so you need to check your inbox.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. That's the trucks,
No,
isn't it?
yeah,
Of the
I've got some more for you.
Okay, cool. I'm watching. Appreciate everyone. There's a guy called Seda who's sending me stuff as well, and various people sending me stuff. So I am checking it out. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the content that's been sent, so we can check it and verify it amongst the other things that we're checking. So I appreciate all of that. Yeah, that's the latest news in that regard. Anybody else got any latest news, or anybody want to speak specifically about these attacks that are happening right now? This new wave of attacks. Avilas, go ahead, jump in.
Yeah, I had a question for you, Solomon. In the attack waves, is it saying how many missiles? And if so, is it increasing in missile sizes? Like they used 500 here, and then they used 1,000, they used 2,000, or is it just? Is there any area in there where it's confirming numbers?
Really good question. So initially, before this wave, we heard that there was roughly about 300 to 500. In terms of each wave being more intensive than the previous, it's not been exactly like that as a linear thing. So, for example, this current hit was less than the previous hit, but then the next hit is meant to be bigger than all the rest. So I think there's not a like a linear correlation. So that the hits are coming.
Here's why I ask, because let's hypothetically, if they only had 100,000 missiles in their reserve, 100,000 total, they still have to maintain like 50,000 for neighbors, right? Even if they're at war. So that gives us an idea. If they're using 500 per day, if they only have 50,000 they can use, it kind of gives us an idea where their kind of red line is mathematically. Just a heads up.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
All right, I'm about to send you a picture of something, Sully, in just a second. But in the meantime, guys, make sure you're reposting this space. Uh-oh, that girl woke up. You know what I'm
And
saying?
some
She must have taken a nap.
more breaking news. Sorry, and then I'm all defos. The major extensive damage in the Rishon LeZion area south of Tel Aviv from the Iranian missiles. There are 14 casualties. That tweet's in the nest. Casey, good to see you. Where you been? You been sleeping on that? Chick's just chilling, bro.
It's an absolute ish show. Once I got off, plus I had to get my hair done for the celebration. No, let me stop. But all jokes aside, I just had a bunch of stuff happen. But I'm here now to pull the night shift. I'm ready. I'm amped. I'm ready. I've had like 3 coffees. Let's go. I'm here with you guys.
Yeah,
Well,
this
then
is you.
that's cool because I
Sorry.
have to grill some steaks. So maybe it's like 11 o'clock. I've literally been trying to like grill these steaks for all day, but anyway, but go ahead, Sully. Sorry.
No, this is huge. I'm just thinking about posting this. Yeah, yes.
Well, while you think about that, I am just sent you something. I don't know if that's postable or whatever, but anyway, it was sent to me, and it shows the different ballistic missiles that Iran's using. Oh shoot, this won't let that. Let me plug it. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. But yeah, Casey, what's going on, girl? Have you been following all that's been happening? Maybe we should give like a kind of a nutshell, like update, I guess, from what's happened today. If you have you been following what's been going on?
Yeah, I was in and out following until I couldn't for a moment. But I saw like I've been looking at the images coming from Suleiman. You know, like I jump back on Twitter and I'm seeing these images and I'm just like, wow, like I don't know, like I'm still like my mouth dropped a few times, and I guess for me it's like I just feel like I never thought we would see anything like that. To be honest, I mean, you know, what has it been 18 months plus of a genocide going on, and you just feel like nobody comes and stops these people. They can get away with anything. They can do whatever they want. Nobody's going to come. There's no type of retaliation whatsoever. And then to see these images and to see how quickly things can change, you know, and I know the whole doom and gloom of like yesterday, but right now it seems like there's just strike after strike after strike. And, you know, it is. And look, and I just want to be clear. Nobody's saying, yay, war. Nobody's excited about, you know, things like this or whatever. But, you know, to act like there's not an impact, to act like it doesn't hit you a certain way, I would be lying if I was to say like, oh, I don't want this to happen. Something has to happen. I mean, you know, you can't have this so-called state going rogue like this. And it seems like they've met their match, and we're still watching. And you know, I mean, if there could be peaceful diplomatic you know, discussions that could be done where Palestinians get their freedom and things can be controlled, Israel can be controlled straight up, and they could sign to that, that's okay, fine. But I highly doubt they would come to the table with that. So now they've met their match, and we'll be here. And I see, and the space is still running. Please, guys, repost the space. I mean, thank you, Suleiman Khaleesi, Mays, everybody on the panel, everybody. I've been listening, you know, when I was listening in, just listening to everybody. If you got to cut me off, just cut me off, because that's all you.
Just some more breaking news. It's the tweet in the nest. What was it again? State of emergency declared by Asif Horife Hospital. This is due to a possible arrival of a large number of casualties due to a strike in Tel Aviv.
Yeah, that's serious stuff. You know, when they triage like that, when they call a state of emergency, and you're getting, I can tell you as a nurse, and you're getting a large amount of people coming. I mean, it's all hands on deck. That means things are serious. You got to get all your medication, everything, all your equipment together. It's not a joke to call a state of emergency at a hospital. So again, here we are. Nobody told Israel to go attack Iran. Nobody told Israel to do a lot of the stuff that it's been doing. So these are the situations that are happening that they need to take extremely serious. And, with all of this tough talk that Trump was doing, well, we were bringing you negotiations and you need to negotiate
Listen,
with
do you mind
us.
if I interrupt you for breaking news? Because this is,
Always cut me off, Nathan. You've been killing it. Always cut me off.
I'm sorry. So we've got reports of the Israeli military being quoted as saying that the Air Force fighter jets completed an attack on the nuclear facility in Isfahan region.
That's a lot.
Sorry,
Yeah.
can you repeat that? That last part. Who attacked who?
The Israeli military, right, is being quoted as saying that the Air Force fighter jets completed an attack on the nuclear facility in the Isfahan region.
I
Or
mean,
Isfahan,
they were
sorry,
saying that
Isfahan.
earlier.
Sorry, could you repeat that? Sorry.
Oh, they were claiming they did a successful attack earlier and that didn't do anything. So until we see something, I doubt it.
Okay, Suleiman, 3 generals eliminated, confirmed.
What generals from which squad?
A squad of the army, they were in IDF, so confirmed they eliminated. And they have lost communication with some of the generals as well. I will give you update when confirmed.
So you said the IDF lost
So,
three generals?
yeah, we'll see if that's confirmed. So yeah, but back to what I was saying about that state of emergency. Anyway, these are the type of things that Israel needs to be taken serious. Where is Netanyahu? Is he still in Greece? Is he still hiding safe? In a nice luxury hotel, getting room service and massages and a spa treatment right now,
But
or
Mason,
is he?
you know what the funny part about that is that
He's
what
at a
did he
gay
say?
bathhouse.
What did he say about Yahya Sinwar and Nasrallah that they were hiding and they were hiding like rats or whatever? Now look what this motherfucker's doing.
Yeah, and they weren't hiding, right? They were with their soldiers, but this guy, he's out there getting pampered. He's getting pampered more, Suleiman doing more work than he is right now, holding up this space to talk about what's going on in his so-called country or whatever area, whatever you want to call it. And he's getting pampered, I'm sure, getting massages and everything. I mean, he left them to get bombed. I mean, that says a lot. I mean, I'm sorry for laughing. I don't think it's funny, like towards the people, but it's just it really says a lot. Like, wow.
It just shows he's not committed to his own country, and that's the sad part.
Well, here's the thing, right? So if America doesn't get involved like directly, even though we know indirectly they're involved, then Israel's gonna have that excuse of, well, you know what, we're gonna have to use nuclear weapons to defend ourselves, and that'll be their scapegoat right there. So either way, America's screwed. They're gonna have to get involved no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. No, there's no question about it. I mean, we read some of the codes yesterday that are in, effect that have been placed in law for us to have to get involved, right? So, yeah, absolutely. It's a shame. And are any of these pundits like finally coming to terms with the fact that their precious Trump, their anti-war, MAGA Trump is sending them into a war, another war, in the Middle East? Are they coming to terms with that, or are they still coping and acting like
No,
it's not happening?
no. You have Lindsey Graham, who has no kids, should not. B-2 bombers, you can't be a pilot unless you have kids and a wife, or at least kids, because it shows you're dedicated to America. You should not be in Congress if you don't have children, because this dude is like, we should go to war. It's like, you don't even have kids. You're offering to send my sons to go fight and die for Israel. Fuck that, dude. No.
Yeah, they say so. It's so easy how they say it, and even because when Ryan was up here, I think yesterday, he was talking about the Wesley Clark. Everybody remembers the speech that General Wesley Clark did on the stage with the 7 countries, and I remember the sentence that stuck out to me the most was when he said, uh, "Yeah, we have a strong army, so let's change some governments." And it's like, wait, that's what you think? It's like, if you have a strong army, you think, okay, cool, let's make sure we defend our borders and just, defend our country. And that's it. No, let's do government regime change. And then while we're going to do that, let's lie to the American people and tell them they're at risk for some so-called weapon of mass destruction that's going to come get them, and that you have to, go fight and make them safe by going to somebody else's country and absolutely dismantling that country while breaking American soldiers and having American soldiers spill with their blood and everything for another country. And then, after you're done with that, let's also have you give up some of your liberty with something called the Patriot Act. I mean, it's just lie after egregious lie after lie.
Don't forget, we just handed out $300 billion to another country, and we're like, you can keep it. We're good. We got plenty. It's crazy.
That's what we do. Yeah, it's what we do. It is crazy. And I mean, and they're trying to pull this again. And it is fascinating too, to like see on a space like this where the real news is coming out. It's like, yo, there was another strike. Yo, there was another strike. Like on top of it, everybody's like, yo, they said this. Yo, they said. But when you look on Twitter, like people like Scott Jennings and stuff, they're not talking about the other side. They're making it seem like, oh, everything is fine here. Oh, look, the Iron Dome is working just fine. And, poor Israel, they're just such nice people and they're trying to attack them, but everything is okay here. And so this is how the country is severed in this propaganda war, where they end up agreeing to things that aren't even true. And
I
it's
100%
terrible.
agree. The one thing I will say is I think Scott Jennings is the one outlier. I think if he's tagged, if enough people tag him, he'll come in here, and you guys will see he is one of us. I'm just saying, just throwing that out there.
Just some more breaking news. You can see it in the Nest. 10 buildings taken out, 14 people injured in the attack in Rishon LeZion in Tel Aviv. The tweets in the Nest.
Remember, they're using old artillery, so like wait until they start using the new stuff tomorrow.
And that's what I was thinking too. Now, first of all, Scott Jennings is in Israel right now, so I don't know if it's one of us. But
he's awake. He just woke up. Yeah. But I don't think they can broadcast. That's why I'm trying to get him in here. That's why I'm saying people should tag him.
Yeah, okay. I don't think he's allowed to though. He's contracted, so they might find out that he's making decisions on his, the contracts. You got to read the fine print. But back to this.
You're right.
Back to this right here with so we got breaking 10 buildings damaged in Rishon LeZion, Tel Aviv, 14 injured. So they're getting the hits. I mean, again, and like Avalos, you just said they're using older artillery, right? So they haven't even used their new stuff yet, right? Is that what you said? Avalos? Oh, shit. Okay, so it sounds like that's what he said, that they're using their older artillery. And I had a feeling that something like that is happening. That's kind of like, I would say it's like the Russian model. We saw with Russia and Ukraine, everybody was trying to make fun of Russia with, some of their old, weaponry. But why would they use their new stuff when they had plenty of the old stuff that was working just fine to get the job done? And it seems like what Iran would be doing too. They're on it, this is strategic. This is not, we're just going to go and start bombing things so we look like we're strong. They're doing strategic things, and they're, actually planning out their next steps and their next moves. So I'm totally here for it. Joa, what's up, Joa? Welcome.
Some more breaking news. The tweets in the Nest. 1 killed and 14 injured from the Iranian missile hitting a building in Rishon LeZion, south of Tel Aviv. So there has been casualties from that. That tweets in the Nest. Yuka Joe, how you doing? Jump in, bro.
Hey, Sully, do you know who Bill Ryan is? Project Avalon or Project Camelot. There's an interview of his from 2010 that's going viral right now everywhere online. Not on, it's going viral on TikTok, it's going viral on here. Multiple languages, people are translating and sharing it. It's basically an interview of him saying that, I wish Maze was here because Maze probably knows who this is, and I really don't. I just saw the video for the first time. But basically, it was an interview in 2010 that said China will catch a deadly cold. That cold will spread throughout the world. It will really affect the West. Then they will make Iran or China look like the bad guy. They will provoke them to the point where they'll use a nuke. A nuclear exchange will happen. It'll be short lived. A peace treaty, a ceasefire will be signed. But then there will be a geothermal event which will lead to a greater nuclear war. And then power will shift from the west to the east at the end of it. And this is an interview from 2010. So you can understand why people are sharing it a lot. I don't know if anyone knows who the hell this is or not, but or to even bring in conspiracy theories at a moment.
Yeah, I was checking that out last week. It's been making the rounds with the COVID thing and all this happening. It is trippy. He claimed to be part of some secret society in England that was like read into like future plans and stuff. Pretty trippy.
Joa? That happens to him often. Brother Omar, welcome back to the panel. What is up, Brother Omar? What are your thoughts?
Hi, Casey. Hi, everyone. Look, Iran, True Promise 3, the visuals are promising. I'm loving it. Um, but I also feel sorry for the poor, 7 million people who are in bunkers at the moment, with all their makeup, wigs and everything on. And I just hope that, their countries of origin in Europe, bring them back home safely. You don't want these people spending, too much time in the bunkers. It's not good for their health. It can lead to vitamin deficiencies. So I'm hoping Europe would organize for their return home safely. I've been actually going under their comments and telling them, reminding them that they can always use their European passports. They don't have to live in a dangerous place like Middle East. It's not doing them any good. They can always return home. I'm sure they'll find people welcoming them back. But yeah, long live Iran. I'm actually enjoying the whole thing. I don't want to sound like a maniac, but about time. And I hope Iran does more of the LGBT. And I don't mean LGBT by I don't mean it in lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender. I mean the actual LGBT, which is let's go, Tel Aviv. So I hope it continues, and I hope this goes and becomes a disproportionate retaliation, because that's how you establish deterrence. And I think so far the visuals that we've seen are promising, and I'm loving it. And I also hope that Iranians have secured the supreme leader. I just hope they've taken him to a secure